dealing with a family thing.
There was a
Somebody had to have
full-on
surgery.
campaign.
All right,
of,
guys, I'm about to hit the button.
All right, well, fucking tell us then.
Shut up,
Did you-
Zocker.
Did you hit the button?
Who the hell are you?
Shut up, Zocker.
Hit the button. We're like late, dealer.
Fine.
Hit it.
I'm hitting the button.
But when you
Hit
walk
it.
away, I'll
I'm
be
doing
talking again.
Hit the button right now.
Did you hit it? Did you hit the button?
Wait, D, what's the button look like? What color is it?
It's red. And it says fire.
All right, I don't have
Fire
that
the
button.
missiles!
You know, either way, we did manage to actually end up live anyway, right? Predictably so. Hey, chat, thanks for watching us. You are watching Real Deal Xbox Podcast. We do appreciate every single thing that you do. And seriously, we mean that. We wouldn't be here if not for you talking about games, talking about all the latest over the last week. And we are so happy to be doing it with the best chat in the universe.
Red.
And a really cool
it
guest
says
today, actually,
fire.
which we will introduce as I mute my own stream. So,
Yeah,
Colt
that
Eastwood,
scared
we're going to do
the shit
some
out of me.
introductions. We're going to do some shout-outs, and we'll get into some topics. We got some pretty interesting topics today. Hey, again, chat, if you're here, hit the like button, share it out. We do appreciate it. You make us one of the biggest Xbox podcasts in history. We thank you very much. Colt, hey, another show, more topics, more fun.
Yeah. Welcome to Real Deal Xbox Podcast. I'm Colt Eastwood, an Xbox content creator, excited to talk about the Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, and the Xbox One family consoles, Xbox Live, and everything Xbox. Thanks for
What about
having me on
Xbox
this
Game
Xbox
Pass?
podcast. Yep.
What about the Xbox controller?
Yeah, and the Xbox
Game Pass
controller.
Ultimate.
I just want to make sure y'all know what the fuck you're in for.
Xbox X Cloud?
Did Gears on
All right.
Xbox
All right.
Game Pass?
We've also got D-Batch, brother. How you been?
I'm good, man. Honest to tell you, I've been kind of off of the net the last few days, so I'm actually coming to the show today to get some of my gaming news because I don't know what the hell's going on. So let's go.
I'm making sure the chat is not telling us, or me rather,
Yeah, we're good, I think.
that they can only hear me, like the first 3 minutes of a show or two ago. So yeah, okay. We've also got Zauker, buddy. How you been?
Good, man. Eating my little baby carrots and ready for the show. Glad to see the chat's here and we're all talking. And I'm in a sad state because of Wonder Woman 84. Fuck me.
No one's gonna save you, Zauker. No one could save you.
Nobody.
We've also got Insipid Ghost, aka very nice gentleman. I was on a show I think a month or so ago. He does run an Xbox podcast, and I want to have him on my show. How you been, sir?
I've been good, man. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. It's a pleasure to join you guys on RDX.
Well, I mean, thanks. We do appreciate it, and that was something that I really enjoyed the back and forth we had in kind of the discussion we had about what's happening with Microsoft and how far they've come and all of the great things in gaming, and really we like to focus on that stuff here as well, just with more swearing. So again, we do have some awesome topics. I want to thank Insipid for joining us, and we do have good guests coming up here in the future. But we just need a little bit of time to kind of gather our bearings after the holidays. It's been a little crazy. Colt Eastwood bought a new jacuzzi, put it in his bathroom. So, it's just,
Right.
people are going nuts. It's a pandemic. So let me get
I was in
these,
there with Little Papa. It's comfy.
all right, that's creepy as fuck. Hey, shout out to the mod Lethal, by the way. Obi-Wan didn't show up today, but he is busy, and every other mod in the chat. I'm doing Women Hood show tomorrow. He might show up, so shout out to Wimmy if he does show up as well. We got by the way, Jesse Nup Xbox. You won Cyberpunk last week. I didn't get a message from you on Twitter. Please message me there. At the very least, and I can get that to you, buddy. On Patreon. So again, giving those away, giving those out. This is my Patreon tier, shout out tier. Starting with
Can you refund giveaways?
Sorry. Zuradin, Dr. Vortex. We've also got Game Genie Prime. We've got Slim73, Pink Orcbot, Costanza. We've got Wayne, Scout Trooper 74. We've got KY Bob, shout out to him. We've got Wakanda XNT, as well as DT Baggins, Goose 8402, Straw Hat Khalifa, Bad Boy Live, Assassin Lupa, Foreign Object, Gab Queest, Teo, John Blue, only a few more, I promise. As well as Vec Boss, Deviator X, Real Deal Neil, Suicide King, Tasis Genie, Guillermo Cavillo, Michael Bowen, All Might, AJ Hutton, Gaz, Dark Seamoff. Holy fuck, there's just a lot of people. I had to figure out some other way to do this. So again, thank you guys for what you do. You guys are awesome. That updates around the 5th of every month. Colt Eastwood, Halo Infinite, not Colt Eastwood. Colt Eastwood didn't get canceled. Halo Infinite got canceled on the base consoles. Did you hear about this?
You're such a dick.
Hey, I actually didn't even mean to do that on purpose, believe it or not. So there were a lot of guys on Twitter running with, hey, the base console Halo Infinite is too weak to run Halo. The base console Halo Infinite, the base console Xbox One was too weak to run Halo, and they were basically running with this rumor that the base model version of the game was canceled. There was multiple different SKUs of the same game, even though that goes against their entire objective of game development across those two platforms. What happened there? 343 came out and kind of laid a little bitch smack down, huh?
Yeah, I mean, they said that they weren't canceling the Xbox One version. It spent the majority of its development cycle targeting the Xbox One. And I guess I would say all of the development cycle. That's always been the plan. And I guess you could just drop that out, but they're not going to. And it wouldn't make any difference at this point anyway. The game is already designed to run on JAG core-based hard drive consoles. So, yeah. I don't know why people thought that would be a thing, or how much it would really speed up the final version of the game or make it better or make it more amazing. The game just has to be good.
That'd be ideal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Sipit, I know that you had to have seen this going around, and I know that it had to cross your mind that there are better looking games than Halo Infinite already running on Xbox One, Xbox One X today. And the fact that Halo Infinite has been in development from the beginning for 4 or 5 years now with the Xbox One in mind, how do you think that people and by the way, Chad, we do got a bunch of other topics coming up. We're starting light today to let some more people file in. Thanks to those of you who show up. Again, we do appreciate it. Hit the like button, shout out, tell a buddy, retweet it, help us out a little bit as we get up towards our goal here. We're talking about Halo Infinite if you just joined, and Insipid Ghost is telling us why he canceled the base model version of the game.
Well, yeah, it was me, specifically me, and no one else but me to cancel it on the original Xbox. No, I think see, thank you, bring it. But I really and truly, I think it's a fair question for people to ask. I don't think it's fair for people to jot rumors down and run with them and act like the world's ending over them. It's a fair question to ask when you look at the way Cyberpunk launched, which is I think a lot of this spawned from. When you look at the fact that they did delay it a year and some change, but I'm all for that delay, and it's ridiculous speculation to even jump to the conclusion that they would be canceling the version that they've been working on for years at this point, particularly when you saw the near finished state that it was in. If they're taking a year to clean and polish and make it look good and make it run the best on each of the respective platforms it is launching on, I'm all for that, because Halo fans are deserved of a top tier AAA experience. And so I'm all there for it. When you look at the best games on any platform, they always suffer delays. They tend to go through immense amounts of refinement. You could have played God of War a year before that game came out, and you would have had a wonderful experience. But it's the polish, it's the refinement that's important. And I am so thankful that 343 is taking their time to get it right. I love the fact that the people that are involved in working with it that we know of now. And I love the models that we're hearing come out about the free multiplayer, what they're hoping to do with the campaign after the fact. I'm in on it. But as far as canceling for the base version, it just seems silly. I'm not against the idea, but without real information and with 343 consistently coming out with info, why even worry yourselves with it?
Yeah.
Well, I would say, so what you said, there's some things you said that make a lot of sense, but also things that I think are a little out of whack. So with Halo Infinite, this is a very peculiar delay, right? It's because the campaign's done. The guys, the leader, the new person in charge, everybody's played it, and they've played it through twice and everything, and they're just polishing it up. Games like God of War that you brought up, a little thing that you said is that they polished it and they could have played it a year and a half before. That's actually, that was not, they said in Raising Kratos, that documentary, that they only had that 15-minute demo. That's all they had a year and a half before the game released. And then the developers even said, how are we going to expand this to 25 to 30 hours? They were freaking stressed. But since they had that foundation down of that demo, they were able to recreate different levels and make things in a far more rapid pace, because it's all about getting things down right away. With Halo Infinite, that's where the optimism lies with me, is that they have all this down. Now they're just going to revamp a lot of things, make sure it is polished. And I don't know a game that has a complete campaign done, multiplayer that's probably even more finished in the campaign, and are going to still take a year of development time, which is going to cost Xbox and Microsoft millions upon millions of dollars to do
making stuff up, Zucker.
No, it's just like that. That's like such a cool thing, and like if we see like the rumors of Starfield and all these other games coming at the end of 2021, you could see that the end of like next year's 2021 holiday season, it's stacking up to be the ultimate battlefield to me for both Xbox and Sony. And I think Xbox sees that and they're just like, fuck it, we'll just wait a year, polish this bitch up, make it look better,
put some
and
textures
put it out.
on Craig's forehead. Yeah, because they did address the visuals, right? They said the whole delay until next fall is basically a graphics overhaul, meaning the limitation was timed from the beginning, as we had already talked about. It's a pandemic, so somebody asked me not to talk about the same thing again, so I'm not going to do that. But what I will say is that again, think about the games you're seeing today and how they look a lot better than what we saw with Halo Infinite at that reveal. And we know there's only one Master Chief. Therefore, we've asked for some kind of, we needed more. We needed better. And I think you guys will be happier with the result. Will it be perfect? Probably not. But, hopefully it's better.
We're seeing visual upgrades in real time. Watch Dogs Legion now versus when I started playing it. So went through the ray tracing update for next gen, but it even now looks and runs better. Even the too often talked about Cyberpunk at this point is getting consistent upgrades and fixes and adjustments. To see the graphical improvements that are taking place and the optimizations that are going on, they're not one-to-one, but they do affect the visual experience for the player. To see those constantly going on only makes me that much more excited for next holiday, because it's just going to be golden days. I mean, look at Hivebusters, for God's sake. I mean, what a joy it is going to be to step into that infinite world a year from now versus where we would have been had it launched, last month or 3 months from now or 6 months from now. A year's worth of time, to me, is just, as a Halo fan, I'm appreciative that they're not taking a half measure with it. They saw the damage was done with the delay, and now they're jumping in, fixing it and doing it right.
Well, it's also the next gen features. Like when they talked about the graphical updates, they didn't just talk about like, we're just going to make things better. No, they talked about a lot of features that were not ready for launch that are next gen exclusive features. That's something that 343 was like, that wasn't going to be in there. Remember when they even said that it might launch without ray tracing? Like all this stuff is like a year from now is going to be something that's standard in the game. Like it's going to be far easier to develop. The APIs are going to be freaking written a lot better. And it's going to be like just work better on both PlayStation and Xbox.
I want to know from D-Batch.
Go ahead, D-Batch.
What are your thoughts on some of the stuff you've been seeing over the past week regarding the game? And again, we this is an entry topic for those watching. We will move on soon, but I do got to get D's take on this at least.
I was going to say, just in the short time that they've delayed the game and they've updated us with some pictures of the actual game, I've seen a tremendous increase in the quality of the textures, just the sharpness of the image. Just everything looks a lot better than that initial reveal, which gives me a lot of hope on the game. I did cover this story like a week ago when it came out, and I think people got hung up on the guy's LinkedIn where he said he just finished wrapping up Halo on the S and the X and whatever. He didn't mention the Xbox One. And I think that's where people got that and they just kind of ran with it. And I asked Tim on the show last week, and Tim said, no, that's not happening. It's going to be, going ahead as scheduled. And also Tim has told us, because we know he has his ear to the ground over there at Microsoft, that they are making those graphical improvements like they've already confirmed. But like I said, seeing them in action, and this is only like a few months since they delayed the game, a year, like 9 months, 10 months from now, the game's going to look even better than what it looks now. And I think everyone's going to appreciate the delay when they see the finished product, because Halo is the Halo product for Microsoft, and it needs to come out right. And I think next year, holiday season, when we're really going to get next gen stuff out of these consoles, is the perfect time.
Well said. And real quick too, Colt, did you hear that Microsoft bought Sony? Please tell me you heard about this. Like, we have all the games now.
Yeah. I saw
we're gonna
post something like that.
We're gonna win. We're gonna win.
Yeah. Everybody wins when there's a monopoly. It's gonna be great.
So I mean, what was the deal? What was the details according to what you know behind this whole thing that spewed up on Twitter?
Which one?
There was like an article, and some guy shaved it into his chest hair. Like, there's a lot of sources out there, so I just need to know, why'd you do it?
Man, I never know when to take you seriously. I don't I don't know what you're talking about.
Just give us your thoughts on the rumor that was flying around. Am I really explaining this
No,
right
no,
now?
no. There's I mean, I don't take any I don't take that with any amount of value that's something that Microsoft doesn't want to buy
$138 billion.
If Microsoft wanted to buy Sony, we'd hear rumors that they were going to buy Amazon and they were going to buy Google and everything. Like, no, it's not what Microsoft is. A big multi-platform with their own stuff, and they're huge. Xbox is going to be most everywhere, so they don't need to buy out everybody. They just want people to come to them, and they'll make their content. That's how I see it anyway. So I just don't give any credence to that they want to buy Sony. I mean, they can definitely afford them, but it doesn't do them any good. PlayStation is a really great console just about every time they make one, so let them do their thing, and that's just how it is.
Yeah. I mean, I was seeing a lot of people talking about this, and yeah, I just don't think they would ever let that happen anyway. But I just figured I would get an opportunity to answer someone's question in the chat, because I didn't think it was real for a second, so I didn't write it down as a topic. But I was like, why not? He really wants to know, and I can get a decent idiot joke out of this or something. So again, hey,
I mean, Zocker, how much is the PlayStation division worth? I mean, they wouldn't buy Sony, like the Sony Pictures, blah blah blah. But like, if they wanted to buy something, they would buy the PlayStation division. Like, what does that cost?
Probably, like, I just had half
20
of my
million,
baby carrots,
20 billion,
another half of these carrots, probably.
So just the rest
No,
of the
honestly,
South
the rumor was the $138 billion.
Who the fuck?
Sony.
What kind of money? Monopoly money?
Like, yeah, $138 billion. I was like, we need to fucking chill. Like, I'm like, what the hell? Like, right when I saw that rumor, I was like, oh my god, block.
Well, hey, let me let me read out a few super chats here and get these out there for those that are supporting. Face 23 KY, he says,
I always mess his name up.
He said, I really do. He says, do you think the 5 lawsuits that CD Projekt Red is getting, so the lawsuits basically, we're going to cover those. And I honestly, I'm looking forward to that. We will get to that though, brother. I also got to get to CYV Studio. Shout out to you. He says, hello crew, 2 more days to 2021. Yes, hopefully it's a lot better than this dumpster fire of a year. Humble Beast, he says, cancel culture is life. Oh my god, I think he's talking about, he's talking about a certain situation. He says, group identity and of course, fake outrage is key. Hashtag block Colt. Sorry, Colt, I got to do it. Block Colt Eastwood. Hashtag block Colt. It's bullshit. So again, these guys are a little upset because, I guess I don't know. I don't know why they're so upset. Doesn't really matter. We're having a lot of fun here on the show, and we do got to thank over 1,000 of you guys already watching this live. Guys, hit the like button if you haven't. Share it out with a buddy or two, and tell your mom she might like the show. She probably won't, but she might. Zalker.
Yeah, if you're wondering what Block Colt Eastwood is,
you want to address
let me know when you find out, because we have no idea. There you go. That's the end of the story.
Basically, somebody said Colt shared a video of something about PlayStation get smashed. He didn't share the fucking video. I don't. That's how bright they are. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't really matter.
No, it doesn't.
They're just helping you. So
I just got like a bunch of free advertisement in the past couple of days, so it's been pretty nice. Gained a ton of followers. So that's pretty
awesome.
Nice.
Well, can you gain a ton of perspective on this report card, because apparently Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo have their end of the year report cards in, and holy shit, did Xbox get fucked over on this one? I gotta say, I'm normally not the one, but I gotta say it, like they did get fucked over on this one. So
what does it entail? What are the
what do you mean?
Well, hang on, Zocker. Okay,
can you hustle it up?
You're always You're always rushing me and stuff.
You're damn right I am. I expect perfection from you.
No, there was a site, and again, I'm going back to it now, because here we go. If I can actually get back to it. You guys are really fucking me up right now.
I didn't read the report card, so I thought you could set it for the audience.
Well, that's why you didn't know, never mind. Okay, so I'm gonna go down here. I think I've got it. Okay, not that one. Chat, basically there was a site, and I'll tell you more about this in a second, that did rate and give each of these manufacturers a report card. And insipid Ghost. I mean, can you imagine? Can you imagine what they gave Xbox for the year of 2020? A year in the midst of a pandemic and just a shitty fucking vibe. What do you think they gave Xbox overall?
What's the scale?
It's a letter grade. Your favorite?
It's a letter grade. Oh well, I'm sure they would give it an A because they released 2 new consoles. Operated with their own version of an E3 online. They did a number of other things like release Ori, Gears Tactics, Minecraft Dungeons, and goodness, I'm sure they got an A, obviously.
And Bunker Busters.
Wasteland 3, yeah, they bought
that was highly
Bethesda.
rated.
They got EA Play up in the Xbox Game Pass.
Hang on, they did all that
Game
this
Pass
year?
Ultimate. Yeah, they did Game Pass Ultimate that was last year.
X-Bot
They had to have gotten an A in my book.
Damn,
Yeah, they're like
Xbox.
15 million on Game Pass
That's right.
in 2020.
Even
What
Sea
else
of
they got
Thieves
in
got
second
11 million players. They're putting games on Steam so people can play wherever they want to play. They got xCloud launched. Remember that, guys? That they're xCloud?
I think they did put that on something, right? Yeah.
And that's doing pretty well too. And,
So-
and it's coming to iPhone.
This
So what'd they get?
This is linkcablegaming.com. And I'm doing exactly what they want. All right, it's
you're giving them clicks.
Yeah, I ain't saying link at nothing. What are you talking about? No, seriously though, I thought this was interesting, and I just wanted to go over it because I thought it was. I saw a lot of people on Twitter and a lot of you in the chat talking about this, and just how mind-blowingly ridiculous it was because they didn't even mention all of the Microsoft games. Right? They mentioned a bunch of third-party stuff on other platforms. Didn't mention it. I just really weird. They gave Xbox a D plus. How do you guys feel about that? Yeah, you guys heard it.
I think they
all these
overpriced
guys
it.
listed all the things Xbox did, Bethesda, all these games, and a D plus.
Okay,
Fuck y'all.
so genuine question for the panel then. What did they not do well that avoids them from getting a C or a B or an A?
Well,
Like,
they
what
could
did
have
not
shown
do?
gameplay on next gen earlier, but we know there are limitations there. We talked to Greenberg about it on the show.
The only thing I docked
Deal
them
with the
for,
platform though.
Yeah.
As
Honestly, what I docked them
performance
for is the
2020.
showing of Halo Infinite and not having very good exclusives at launch of Xbox Series X.
yeah, that's
no
the only
launch?
thing that I docked them for. Yeah, just the launch, not having that exclusive title, and I think they made up for it a little bit with the Hive Busters DLC, but at the same time they didn't, and they failed in that aspect. And for that, honestly, if I had to rate their whole year, I'd have to put them at like a B or a B plus. I can't give them an A just because of the
I mean,
launch.
they didn't. They had like
agree with
a
that.
Game of the Year nominee. They didn't win anything really.
But to give them a D is, come on, man.
What was that site called again, Bueller?
the site here, I'll link it. The site says that to say that Sony had a fantastic year would be a gross understatement. And then they even listed MLB The Show 20. Did that come out on PlayStation this year?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they're not necessarily talking about even. They're going all in on. I don't know what year that game is actually at since we're not getting it on Xbox until next year. I don't know if it's the 2022 next year like it will be other games. So it'll be 2021 the actual year it comes out. So that's why that was confusing to me. So let me link this to you guys. But at the end of the day, they gave PlayStation. What do you think?
A plus for sure.
B
A
plus
Z
or
job.
A minus.
I mean, D batch. Yeah, you got it. A plus.
Yeah, for sure.
They did.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, The Last of Us
Which one
2
of y'all
was
picked me?
kind of a mess. Like it did really well, and the game ran perfectly, but it was like the whole thing was such a mess leading up to it. It scored really well. Ghost of Tsushima was friggin' awesome. It was an 80, 82 or something on Metacritic.
I mean, let's be real. I'm gonna call it out. They have Game of the Year contenders in Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us 2, and I don't like the story of The Last of Us 2. And then Miles Morales is one of the best launch games I've played.
Yeah.
And they also had
Yeah.
Demon Souls.
Astros.
I would give them an A.
But
an A plus.
look, you're allowed to give Sony an A plus if that's your opinion. But to then give Microsoft did all this other stuff, and you give them a D plus.
But an A
It
plus
should have been
would
a B.
say, an A plus would say that they did nothing wrong though, and it was not a perfect year. I think, to be fair, I think it was an A. I think there are two skew approaches with the PlayStation 5 digital and the PlayStation 5, and them actually having good launch software out there, and just the hype that the PlayStation 5 is bringing out there. Like, people are going crazy over this console trying to find it, and the Xbox Series X as well. But let's just be honest, the PlayStation 5 is a little bit more hype underneath it. So all those things being said, I'd give them an A. But perfect? Come on,
That's an A+, boy. Read it.
That's
Ooh.
the thing, though.
So here's their first party release. Ori, win. Bleeding Edge, loss. Gears Tactics, win. Minecraft Dungeons, Flight Simulator, win. Battletoads, loss. Tell Me Why, win. Age of Empires 3, win. Xbox Series S and X, hit or miss there, but some good stuff. Forza Horizon 4, upgraded, win. Gears 5, upgraded, win. Sea of Thieves. I mean, why is that even on there? Master Chief Collection coming to PC, that's a win. Like that ran the whole year. Was the Master Chief
I mean,
Collection.
they left out several things, yeah. But
Oh,
Wasteland
yeah,
3 is one of them. So it's not a big deal. Like
That's crazy.
we would just ask Link Cable Gaming to just link yourself a fucking fact checker next time before you post this stuff. And again, I don't know. I just you're allowed to have your opinion. That's perfectly fine. But I thought Microsoft were to be commended for doubling down on quality games. We want better games, and they really spoke about that on the show even. And not only that, but went out and solved the problem of Xbox has no games by acquiring Bethesda. Instead of letting Google or Tencent get them, they did it themselves, right? So, Insipid, I mean, what were your thoughts kind of seeing the disparity here, given all the different things you listed while we were waiting?
Well, joking aside, all silliness aside, it's ridiculous to have such a big gap between the two. I think we would be remiss, or we would be foolish to say that Sony didn't have a wonderful year. When you're putting out Game of the Year contenders and you launch a console, much less a two SKU console in a pandemic year, that's a big win.
Hell yeah.
Not to mention all the recoveries they had to do with the various award shows and publicities being altered, changed, things getting leaked and shown. And both companies, I thought, did very well with that. The difference between the two at the end of the day comes down to the same thing that's been the difference between the two for several years running, and that's the perception of single-player exclusive games. And I think that's a fair criticism, and I believe it was D-Bash that said that launch lineup was severely deficit, and I agree with that as well. And that goes back to that same point. We're missing that element that really puts the system on par. I would have given Xbox a B+ on the year. Maybe I'm being a bit generous because of all the pandemic stuff and the social issues that were going on and the things that they handled and didn't handle well. But I thought it was a B+ year for Xbox. I thought Sony did very well. I would have given them a B+ or an A as well. I thought they did a good job. And I think when you put out titles like this, articles like this, you're just searching for the clicks to get your revenue up before the end of the year. And I would say that to the author, if he or she was here right now. It's embarrassing to me to see all these great points made about one and then completely neglect logic, in fact, on the other. It is lazy writing, I feel, really and truly. And I loved a lot of the good points they made about Sony as I look through it. But to have such a severe deficit is embarrassing in my book.
I got a tear flying down my face right now. Zalker, I know you. I mean, chat, first and foremost, let us know your thoughts. Again, pretty big disparity. And yeah, I think we've always praised Sony's games like God of War, and we love a lot of their titles. We want Microsoft to compete, and I believe they have really started doing that. But at the end of the day, they were, it's like saying a car is just about the engine or just about the tire. It's really the total package. Games are there. They are making more games, and we've asked them for games for years. So we just, enjoy the games we want to play on the ecosystem. And I really just feel like you can't just focus on one thing and judge a whole year off of just one thing when so much happened.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, don't get me wrong. I know Sony had a great year. I was there for the whole thing, right? Like, we all played the Sony games here. We all enjoyed it. I do believe they deserve about an A. I want to say A+. A+ means perfect. And after a lot of the hardware issues that they had at the launch of PS5, where people, a lot of PS5s broke, I can't give them an A+. I think that the games that they brought out were amazing. I put a review out talking about the PS5, and I said, like, hey, I really enjoyed the console, and I wanted to play it for about a month and beat a game on it for 20 hours, and I enjoyed it. But Xbox has given me a lot of great experiences that I love. I mean, I played Gears Tactics fully. I beat that game. I put about 35 hours into that game and loved every single minute of it. I've played the new Minecraft Dungeons and enjoyed it. I played Ori. I played all these games that are exclusive to Xbox and their ecosystem through Xbox or PC or whatever, and I've thoroughly enjoyed my Series X. So I don't.
People are pointing out in the chat. I can't believe we forgot this. fucking we believe in generations in a day, a day before the shit comes out,
God.
trying to trick your asses into thinking that everything you're saying for the last 8 months was true and that cross-gen was this and that. I mean,
that's some fucking short. We just fucked up. We
so
some messy
good.
bitches. We forgot about that. Like I made multiple videos about Sony lying. Like that's something that we like as gamers should not tolerate. Like we believe in generations and this is going to be exclusive, and they always hinted that this is the PS5, and then they say they're going to support the PS4 for 4 years. And it's like, what the hell's going on? That whole debacle of such a great show, right? That September show was so good. And then after it, they're like, "Oh, by the way, fuck you," and then start putting all this other shit out there, and you're like, "What the hell?" Like, wait, what?
What my problem is when I look at these games compared to what PlayStation put out in 2020, like PlayStation's games have mass appeal, and when I heard Zucker talking about what he loved on Xbox, like those games are very decently or highly rated, like Wasteland 3 and Gears Tactics, and like those games are like 80 something. Like they are not low rated garbage, but they have a very low draw to a massive amount of gamers. And then when you play something like Ghost of Tsushima, it doesn't do anything groundbreaking, but it does the open world third person action adventure game like you would want and expect. And I think maybe that's why they look at like the mass appeal. Like Minecraft Dungeons and Gears Tactics and Flight Simulator and Wasteland 3 is not really what everybody wants. Like look at what was most popular: Animal Crossing, The Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, Spider-Man Miles Morales. Like Xbox hasn't been able to hit on that note in so long that I think at this point some of the industry and media people are like, what are they out of touch? Like D+. And I think that's why it gets it. And Aaron in the chat said, this Aaron guy with the letter P is his icon, he said they gave PlayStation an A+ because it's that much better than Xbox. It's like, well, I mean, they, like Zucker said, like PlayStation does not do co-op campaign, almost never. And it is a big draw for people who are friends on a console or on PC to sit down and play a story-based huge set piece game like Gears 5 or the Sidebusters or any of the games that Xbox puts out. You can play those with friends and still get the full story action adventure experience. They're just things that PlayStation doesn't do. And that's why Xbox has a great spot in the gaming community. So,
and we should point out also with Xbox, they've done the biggest disparity is that top tier game that we said, but Microsoft has bent over backwards to find ways to make their games more accessible to more people, not just by way of screens, but by way of adaptive controllers, by way of adjustable controls. The console does bridge generations in a very good way. I logged on in less than 30 seconds to my Series X, and everything was there and just worked. All of our devices work. The big conversation point is that big top tier game, because everything else, to my quick thinking, lands in the Xbox category as a win. I think a lot of people might argue the DualSense is a win over there. I think, in fact, the DualSense is a fantastic controller. It just does something different, and they both do what they do well. But until Microsoft can put out a God of War, the conversation will consistently be turned against them, because they can't they have not competed in that category. And it doesn't matter how much they do that is top tier or well ranking. If they don't put out a God of War caliber game, I don't think they're going to get the media credit that they deserve. Because when you go into other shows, not just like these and like mine and like many others, but when you go into the media sites, the IGNs, the GameSpots, etc., those panelists will praise Game Pass something awful, but then they'll continue going on about the PlayStation lineup. And that's, I think, the big difference and the key part that's missing. And all these other pieces will fall into place beautifully once they get out a game on that caliber. And we know that those are coming.
Well, I would say, like, I think competition is king, right? We all do. We all want competition. And I will say that, like, one of the criteria, as I said a year and a half ago about PlayStation, is they need to change their controller if they really want to, like, actually impress me. And I said they weren't going to do that. And they completely changed it. And I love it. I love that they changed it, because I've played a game now for, Miles Morales and, Astrobot and a bunch of games on there that I've actually, like, have not got annoyed or felt hindered by the controller. And that's what I've always felt on PS4. I've always felt like just annoyed. And that's something that's good. And it makes, Xbox want to be better. And that's what we want. And I'm excited for this next generation. I think Xbox really did do a lot of things, and they brought a lot of variety. That's what I like. Like I like strategy games, and they brought a lot of variety that I just didn't get on Sony. Like I love those third person over the top, shoulder games. Like I get it. Like I enjoyed those, but I played Miles Morales, Watch Dogs, and Immortals Phoenix Rising, my game of the year. I just played those 3 games straight. And I'm like, all right, I need something different. So I've been playing COD. And I was like, but I don't even want to play another game. So I'm thinking Cyberpunk. I don't want to play another third person game. Like that's just me. Like I need variety, and that's something that Xbox. That's something they talk about. They talk about their variety, and that's true. Like we're getting different experiences every time I turn on an Xbox and there's an exclusive coming out for it. It's something different, and that's what I like.
Well, I think you get that on a lot of platforms. But it's really about the ecosystem, right? Your friends, where your games are, what you prefer. That's fine. And again, Lone Star, I'm hearing you, brother. Like you've been watching the show for a long time, and I've come to respect Lone Star. Like he used to be, at least I thought he was another fuckface troll in the chat. A guy preferred a different platform. That's fine. We like to have fun, but he's come to actually be one of the guys that you can actually have a discussion with, even as somebody that would come off as really, really preferring Sony. I hear you. You've heard us ask for games for years, and they've delivered Gears, and we weren't happy with certain things after that. But at the end of the day, 2020, there's so much that went down this year, and Sony did have the better games. We've talked about that multiple times before this point. Other than that, though, it was pretty much dominated by Xbox when it comes to a lot of these other areas, except for the surprise fact that they were having performance issues at launch of the console, and they were losing certain modes in certain games, and in some games they wouldn't have ray tracing. It was obvious their APIs and stuff were still doing some weird things. So again, we expect that to iron out. I've got to give a shout out to Lord Starkiller, by the way, $45 super chat. He says, Microsoft overall grade, in my opinion, is a B+. And by the way, I don't think they should get an A or A+ either, A- even. So I probably agree with you. He says, for me, Halo Infinite delay and not actually enough first-party support for the console. Brought the grade down, and I would have to agree with you. And that's why we're very clear on that in our reviews. And thank you so much, sir. We do appreciate it. I don't know, Zocker, what would you give it? I guess we can go through and chat. Let us know what you would give Microsoft overall for the year, considering how you enjoyed your experience. So, Zocker, what about you?
I'll give him about a B. I'd say a B. I think it's really solid. I think they needed to have the software a little bit more ready during launch of the Xbox Series X. I really enjoyed a lot of the games they brought out. I think their exclusives could have been better at launch. We all have said that. We've all demanded that. And to be honest with you, I'm excited for the future that they've shown me. That's a big thing. And the Bethesda thing is like something that blew my mind that I never thought would come to fruition. We've heard rumors about it, and for it to happen really drove me, like I was like, holy shit, like they're going all out. Like they're trying to be the kings of gaming and content. And it is amplified that we talk a lot about this. We're all ear to the ground. We all love this stuff. And, the night before, me and Colt were in a party talking about like how, what studios they need. Me, Rand, and Colt. And we're like, maybe 1 or 2 more AAAs, just talking, right? Like talking the shit that we love. And then the next day we wake up and it's like 8 AAA studios, go fuck yourself. And we're just like, oh, just like, oh shit. And we like texted each other and we're just like laughing. We're like, holy cow. So that was a good moment. And those moments is what I enjoy. And Xbox gave me a lot of those moments. So, I give it a B. I enjoyed it. I've enjoyed this year of Xbox a lot.
Cultist.
Okay, I've been thinking about this a lot since Zocker was talking.
Thanks.
So, I mean, this affected me as an Xbox fan. So I would give Xbox a B- or almost a C+ because of they didn't put out a lot of first-party games that I wanted. Like, I didn't want to play Wasteland or Tactics, and I couldn't play Flight Simulator on my console. Like, they put those 2 games out on PC first. So, and then the other problem was they didn't have one game. They put all their eggs in the Halo Infinite basket, which is a bad move and really reflected on the platform. Yeah. So they launched a brand new console with no first-party content. Hivebusters came out a month later. Flawless with no problems. It would have been nice if it was ready a month earlier. But as someone who was reviewing the console, it made it really difficult for me with no first party unique content. And so I know that stuff's coming, but when I look at the year as a whole, they did amazing things with Game Pass, and xCloud came out of beta, and people are really impressed with almost everything Xbox is doing outside of their first party stuff that's ready. So I would give them at least a B-, but a D+ is just ludicrous. This site that wrote this doesn't pay attention to what Microsoft is doing as a whole. And the stuff like that PlayStation does that's out in front, like Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us and Spider-Man Miles Morales, that stuff is like right in the forefront. It's like billboard material. So it's easy to say A+, but a D+ is ridiculous.
Yeah.
All
said.
Also, Insipid, what would you real quick give them for their grade for the year?
For the, I would have said B+, for Xbox, A for Sony. And one of the things that I think one of the commenters said was that they don't feel like there's been a lot of first party support. I would actually combat that and say that there's been incredible first party support that still surprises me. Hivebusters is an easy example, but then you also get Sea of Thieves consistently getting content, Master Chief Collection consistently getting updates. For God's sake, State of Decay 2 got the Juggernaut Edition and is continuously putting out content. They do a very good job at supporting their titles. Minecraft Dungeons continues to get content. And I believe it was Colt who said a lot of the games they put out weren't for him. I'm kind of in that category as well. But for players of the games that are out there, they are continuously supporting those studios to put out more content. And I mean, Forza Horizon 4, more content. They're supporting what is in place now as they continue to build for the future. And as an Xbox gamer and fan, I look forward to that greatly.
Well, what would you at least speak up on, like some bigger, more blockbuster type games being, this is something that we all had strokes after the event with Halo Infinite and the mountains popping in, because we were like, what the hell? Like, you guys, you're touting the most power. We know it's the most powerful. Mass still works like it does. Why weren't there any showcases from AAA games at all? And I mean, would you at least kind of address that? How do you feel about that?
Absolutely. Okay, so that is, to me, that was the most egregious aspect of it. And I believe it was Zucker or Colt that also said they shouldn't put all their eggs in the Halo basket, and that has never been more evident. And I remember months and months ago, Phil Spencer in a discussion saying that, he's not even above delaying Halo Infinite, but he would not delay the launch of the console, or he did not equate the two to be synonymous. And I agree wholly with that point. And when you look at all the marketing coming out for Halo Infinite, I mean, I have Mega Blocks on my shelf right now for Halo Infinite. I have cans and all this other stuff over here for Halo Infinite marketing. It's a huge miss, and it's a deficit in their catalog that I think is embarrassing. They didn't have a showcase piece at launch. You could argue that PlayStation 5 did not have a showcase piece at launch. Depending on how you approach Miles Morales, which it doesn't matter if you're showcasing or not, the game's fun and you should play it.
Yep.
Well, they had a showcase piece in Demon's Souls, man. That I've heard multiple people say it's one of the best looking games they've.
And I do not dispute that. However, I think the argument would be, well, that's just a remake of a game that's already out. And I think that's a weak argument, and I do not subscribe to that mentality either. But it is a shame that Hivebusters didn't come out, because that truly showcases some serious next gen stuff, and it makes me all the more excited for what the coalition has brewing now for Gears of War as they try to change. But you're asking me to address it. It's a huge deficit. It's embarrassing, I think, to launch a system that doesn't showcase anything. By the same token, that might have been, it's not their intention. I should backpedal that. What I mean to say is their whole idea and approach for this generation was blended, and that there is no gamer left behind, and you can approach it and adapt as you go. And in the past month, I have logged on to play COD and Fortnite with people on PS4s, PS5s, Xbox One launches, Series S's, Series X's, One S's, One X's, PC, nobody in xCloud. But to me, that speaks very strongly to what their vision was. And I'm bummed out that I don't have anything to showcase, look at my new LG OLED TV. But I can always go back to Forza and Gears to showcase that as I need to, just as I do with Miles for my PS5.
Well, Immortal Jedi. This motherfucker one time at a party, Jedi told me it's going to be the Series X is going to be twice as powerful as the PS5. Like, so, I don't remember what he says. Something crazy. Now he's asking me why it's underperforming. I covered this in videos. Okay, developers have covered it. And again, like, just the videos are there. I feel like it's pretty awesome because we were the first podcast talking about all the stuff going on a couple weeks before anyone else. And then, boom, Warren and others start coming out with articles about how they're hearing from developers the same exact thing. So, again, I don't feel like it's really disputable at this point.
Did you make that up, dealer?
I carved it in two tablets and held them over my head, and they glowed. They glowed bright. And these journalists saw it, and, of course, they repeated it. No, I don't know, seriously. It's one of those things where you're just going to have to wait, and once again, I guess people will have to see. Not a big deal. It's actually winning in several games, and it's just certain modes in some cases. So it's interesting. We did not plan on this kind of issue, but it will be resolved. We are told. Let's go ahead and move the fuck on, huh?
Let's do this in before you move on. That Joseph Staten said 343 is making tremendous progress on Halo Infinite in a recent holiday post on December 29th, which is today. So yeah, close that out. Like they still have like 8 months to finish this game or more. So yeah, if you read that article or Zocker and I probably covered that in a video. Like if you paid attention, like everything that people were complaining about with Halo Infinite, they are on it. Like, and they're already seeing improvements. So it like you said, like 15 minutes ago, dealer, it really is like the polish period for like a year. It's going to be pretty nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A game that'll finally get an upgrade from instead of a downgrade from its showing. That'll be nice.
It is like they listened to it's like they came to this podcast, read the chat, everybody that complained about what they had problems with, and then us, and they were just like, "All right, agreed."
Yeah, like check mark. Yeah,
yeah, that's gonna be great.
Yeah, but move on. I'm sorry, I just saw that and thought I'd throw it in there before we move on.
Let me go ahead and read a few of these super chats off. Daredevil 0085 with the $10 super chat says, "You guys are the best. I love your weekly content." He says, yeah, this is one of their favorite games. This is Hive Busters. If you are curious, it's a stream. This game looks incredible. Me, Fonz, and Colt were playing this. I was like, oh, gee, I cannot. The game looks nuts. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. It looks incredible.
Yeah, this capture is a little dark than it's supposed to be, but yeah, I mean, I was just watching when you looked up at that spinning fire wheel, and it's like you've got ramped up things that were pretty impressive on Gears 5 on the 1X. So it's pretty nice. Very nice.
KY Bob, by the way, shout out to him. He says he says, "I'm really loving console streaming." He's actually using the app on his through his Series X on his phone while he's at work, while he's in another dimension with Patrick Hewing. Shout out to Bob. Do appreciate it. We've also got Eric. He does say Game Pass 15 million. He says it better be for $1. That's horrible. That's horrible, sir. Those developers have to get paid. We've also got Phase 23. Again, you guys keep mentioning the pandemic, but PlayStation. Well, we mentioned that PlayStation hasn't been affected by those title. Well, what did they release? They released Spider-Man, and they released Bloodborne, which neither of those were even first party when this pandemic even started. Was it? Were they? When did they get?
Did you even? Speaking of the developers getting paid, did you see what Phil Spencer said about that?
No.
He said that it's actually fluid. He said that they don't have a set way of how developers get paid with Game Pass.
Oh yeah, I know. I was making fun of the dollar thing where people say I can't get it for $1 on Game Pass. The developers won't get paid.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just like, it was funny because they brought that up to him, like, how do developers get paid? And he's like, sometimes we'll cover the complete cost, so they have no risk. He goes, then we'll get things on Game Pass day and date or something like that, or we'll get percentage of certain things of how many people get. It's like every
Spotify.
Every situation is different. He said, and they're trying to iron it out still, on how it's going to be, but so they can streamline it better. But I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. But yeah, thought I'd bring that up.
Let me give a shout out to
developers are broke.
Let me give a shout out to Dark CMF. He says, "P.S. Last of Us 2, God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn." What's GOT? I don't know what that is. I don't know.
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones and Spider-Man, Xbox, Halo, Gears, Forza, Ori. He says that narrative Xbox only has but PlayStation only has, implying first party party, pretty similar actually. Xbox, yeah, he thinks they have the better multiplayer in the co-op, is basically what he's saying, and the better controller. So Dark CMF thinks that Xbox should have won that, and that's, he's completely fine to have that opinion. That's awesome. I like seeing people express their opinions on the show. We've also got Kareem. He does say, why does Xbox gives more important to FPS games? Why they don't focus on third-person shooter games? I mean, you're watching one on screen, to my knowledge.
I was about to say, like, aren't you playing one right now?
I mean, maybe you mean like a third-person action visual, like Tomb Raider or something. I mean, Gears is very.
I got some of that. It's because Perfect Dark is first-person, and I mean, it's absolutely not true that Xbox has a bunch of or too many first-person shooters. I mean, next year they've got a bunch of second-party deals that are first-person perspective, but those aren't Xbox Game Studios titles, not all of them. So I don't know. I
Eastwood just got fucked up in this video.
Actually, think
You got smashed by the big guy. Just fucking.
It's Fonz gets killed over and over. We were laughing so hard. We had to pull him away from Cyberpunk to play this, and he had so much fun. But he kept letting this big thing. We're like, Fonz, you have to get on the. Anyway, we had a good time. Yeah, it's like Xbox just needs one or two like big action adventure games besides Gears. Like, I don't know.
And we'll see what they're working on, right? They got 23 studios, right? So let me get a few more of these at least. Faisal, he does say, who gave Xbox a D+? Is it for last gen or as a whole? Yeah. That's another thing. We figured, this gen would be more of a reset and an advantage for them. But until that stuff gets sorted out, it is a damn pandemic. I'll say it again. And then we've also got Mr. Mike. He does say, I'm counting each and every single time you guys say Xbox. Expect an angry tweet later. Yes, please tag all of us, sir. Thank you so much for watching. I'll come back if I missed any. But seriously, Insipid, what were you about to say? I had to help these guys out.
Well, I was just thinking about the whole first person versus third person. I mean, Hellblade 2 is on the way for that. We know about Halo. We know about Perfect Dark. But I feel like the narrative that Xbox is first-person shooters only is stale, and I don't know that I subscribe to it any longer. When I think about their first-party slate, I'm thinking about State of Decay, third-person, Sea of Thieves, that's first-person, not quite a first-person shooter, but I first-person. And you've got Hellblade 2, which is coming, that's third-person, Gears third-person, Minecraft is top-down, Gears Tactics top-down. I mean, I don't see a lot of first person in there unless I'm just missing something. I think it's an older narrative that has just seemed to stick for lack of that game of the year. What am I missing?
Well, Avowed is first person. A lot of the games that Bethesda make are first person.
Say Decay 3 is third person. Is third person.
It's first. I mean, I get what you're saying. Like Sea of Thieves is first person.
Yeah.
There's a lot of first person games that Halo's first person. Like there's a lot of games that I like first person games.
Avowed will probably have a third person camera, but it's probably supposed to be played in first. And State of Decay 3 is a third person game. Like it's half and half. And you could turn it around and say PlayStation doesn't have any first person games. They really only have Killzone, and I don't know about the longevity of that franchise right now. Like, or if they're going to wait on it. So
yeah, then that's the one thing I've noticed is that they all the people talk about is the third person, and that's what they want. And I'm like, all right, man, like I get it. Like I explained to people like, oh, dealer just got fucked up. I explained to people that it's just I don't need only third person games. Like I get bored of those. Like I don't know. Like I like playing different types of games. Like that's just what it is. Like I even get bored and I'll play like Rocket League for like 3 hours straight, or I'll go play Fall Guys. Or just something. Like I can't play the same type of shit every time. Like I don't like that. I'm sorry.
Okay. How many hours do you have in Rocket League?
Oh, dude. I legit probably have like 1,300 hours in Rocket League.
You just repeated something I heard on another podcast I was on a couple weeks ago, where he just inserted a different game. He said the same things. Like, I don't have time to play all these third person action adventure open world games, but I'll play Rocket League for, or
I didn't say I don't have time. I said I play them. I'll get bored.
This other guy said, but I'll sit and play Rocket League for 20 hours. He's like, I don't have time to play a story-based game. I don't like them because I have a family and they'll come in and interrupt me. But I'll get on Rocket League and I'll play for like 20 hours. I'm like, boing! I'm like, but it's funny because Tryhard fan said it really well in the chat like 10 minutes ago. He said that not everybody likes the same games. Like there's different things that people want from their platform, and you look at what Nintendo does, and people love that, and that's why they're there. They're on that platform. And if Xbox is doing everything PlayStation did, it's like people just continue to say, "Why get an Xbox? Or why get a PlayStation?" Like there's different things. But
I don't get how. I honestly don't know how. I've been playing Switch actually a lot because of my girl. I do not freaking understand how those games are 90s. I've been playing Hyrule and the frame drops to like 3. Like I'm just like, oh, what the hell? Like I can't. Like it's so annoying. Like the game has potential. It's really fun. It's like a Dynasty Warriors and I'm enjoying it, but holy cow, does the frame rate just freaking kill it? Like it breaks immersion. Like I don't know. That's just me.
Well, I mean, I just want you guys to talk this out so there's no issues when you guys go home. Are you guys?
I get it. I get it.
I just want to make sure everything's fine. And oh crap, I almost accidentally pushed a button. We have more topics, and I do want to give a shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button if you haven't, and of course subscribe and hit the retweet. Why not? Just one button press. We do appreciate it. But yeah, we did cover some Halo stuff. We did cover we covered several things at this point. So many that I lost track. We're going to talk about Ubisoft and the fact that they could be bringing every single major title they make to Game Pass for what is presumed to be no additional charge or something. Zalkar, I'm assuming that you already did 5 videos on this and you already know exactly what's happening.
5.5 videos, sir. So how dare you?
You better
watch every single one of them. So no, I saw this and honestly, it just makes sense. They did EA Play. I mean, Ubisoft would be the next logical thing, and
explain it to people.
Well, basically what's going on is EA Play, right? Like everybody see all these EA games going on, Game Pass now, like, Star Wars Fallen Order and all these other games. It's because of EA Play, a subscription service, just like Game Pass. They just lumped it up and paid EA, X amount of dollars, and now it's on Game Pass at no extra cost to us, the people that are subscribed to it, which is fucking awesome. And now Uplay, Ubisoft's version of that it's rumored to be coming in 2021 to Xbox Game Pass. So a lot of Ubisoft's games and DLCs will just be on Game Pass for you. Like I feel like it's, like that thing people say, like there's too many subscription services. It's like Xbox is solving that problem for you. You just need one, and that's it. Like that's. I feel like they're really trying to do that. Like everybody doesn't like Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus. They're like, there's too many of them. Well, two of them just got put together with EA playing them, and now you play with it would be a massive addition. Like you're getting massive, like huge open world Ubisoft games right there, plus some of their DLC, plus a lot of their online games like Division and all that. Like I think it's going to happen. I think next year that's like the next logical thing. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Who cares? Whatever. But I have a feeling that Xbox is talking to them and looking at putting it together, and giving them a cut.
I have a feeling that a lot of us have forgotten about the medium, Colt.
No, yeah. I mean, I hear a lot of people talking about it.
Shout out to Spooky Sprocket because he's in the chat and he's talking a lot about it. He's excited for it. I mean, chat, let us know. Are you excited for the medium? And again, we want the best for the game. We want the best games we can get. It's in Game Pass day one. Colt, do you think this is going to be something pretty special? I think it'll be interesting.
Well, I mean, their last game was Blair Witch Project, which didn't do very well. But this one has a lot more promise. It doesn't have to ride on an established IP, which gets super heavy criticism. I mean, last year we had Blair Witch Project and Predator Hunting Grounds, and both those games did not do well. So I think medium is pretty cool. It kind of is only for a certain group that likes the interactive, investigative type game. I think that's how I'm looking at it. It's one of those games where you interact with the world and interact with the underworld, and it's got like a big story-based game, not a lot of action other than like chase sequences and stuff. So
that's the type of game where we're talking about, like everybody has different tastes. Like I don't give a shit about medium. I'm not going to play it. It's not my type of game. I don't care for horror and slow and stuff like that. Like I'm just kind of like, eh. But like games like Vermintide, Dark Tide, like that's one I can't wait to play. The Ascent, another one I can't wait to play. But this game is just like, I don't know, man. Like I just don't. Like I get it, it's a horror game. A lot of people, there's a market for it. People like those type of games, but for me, it's just I don't care. I don't know about anybody else.
I got it. You reminded me when you said the Ascent. I got a lot of criticism on this video I did a couple weeks ago. Xbox games coming in 2021. A lot of people are like, too many shooters. It's like 90% of video games have always been and will be in some form or another a shooter. Like it's very rare that a game does not have shooting mechanics as the foundation for the game. Like the medium is one that is not, right? But most games, unless they have like melee combat only, most games are shooters. It's kind of like what they are. I think people just move the goalposts. They see all these games. I highlighted 17 or 18 games coming in 2021 first to Xbox, which is pretty good that the first party stuff and exclusives are finally coming. But they're like, too many first person shooters or too many shooters. Like, oh, where are you going to move the goalposts next? What are you worried about? Like, do the games look good to you or not? Like Vermintide looks fun.
Really Vermintide good. Looks freaking awesome, man. I can't wait to play that.
Actually, we shouldn't be. I keep calling it Vermintide. It's you said it right, Zocker. It's Darktide. It's Warhammer Darktide.
It's Darktide
because it's the same developers.
Yeah, Warhammer Darktide.
Hey, shout out to Tryhard and other, not Tryhard, sorry, Lone Star and other guys in the chat. These guys are talking it out. It's okay. It's plastic. And after all, you're all suckers. I'm getting the KFC console anyway. You guys can have these. I'll get the Soldier Boy consoles and the chicken console. Zalker, what the fuck was that about? The KFC, what was it, the KF console? What was that? Is that a marketing gimmick, right?
Yeah, it's totally marketing. I don't know what the hell that was. I saw it and I just started laughing. Like they opened it and it's like a little oven inside with chicken. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what's going on? And people are like, this looks better than Xbox. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, Jesus, it's a joke, people. Like, do you have that pathetic of a life that you need?
It's a $3,000 piece of equipment too.
Is it really?
Yeah. Like Rich Review Tech covered it and looked at the whatever the board that it's built on without the graphics card that's in it, and he says it's like $2,500 just for that board that it's built into. So it's probably a $3,000 retail personal PC basically.
Some people are paying PlayStation money for that.
I mean, I would love to buy the thing because it looks cool and it's super powerful, but I mean, I don't know, $3,000.
So it's a PC basically?
It is a PC, yeah. It's a piece. It's more like an Alienware, if anything. It's got like this small modular motherboard with the integrated processor in it. It's like an i9 basically. I'm just going off of memory, and then it's got what would be like an RTX 3000 series graphics card type of setup in it, and then it actually has a warming tray. So, yeah.
Oh wow. Well, that's pretty interesting.
And the name of the console is the Colonel's Gooch.
Oh my God. Okay.
Oh my God.
He did. Yep. Clip. Okay. So basically, there's like two people. There's only almost 2,000 people, 1,600 people here today. That's been about what it's been for a minute. And some days are better than others. It's we do appreciate everyone who showed up. Holidays. Hit the like button if you haven't. It's the damn holidays. I don't know what the hell people are thinking. And I'm surprised this many of you showed up. So thank you. Hit the like button, share it out. Draw? Insipid, you are the reason they're here, sir. And again, if those of you to follow me on Twitter or Insipid on Twitter, we did tag him earlier, and I'm glad you're here, Insipid. You can begin the next topic. Let me give you that information, sir, because I'm not competent enough to send them to you as a guest. We did talk about the report card. We did talk about the let's talk about the new IP. So, Tim, Xbox basically confirmed a new IP, and by the way, the Ubisoft thing is Alker, seems to think, hey, this could be legit, right? It makes sense. They did it with EA. You get all those EA Vault games for free. Why not Ubisoft next? They're trying to draw people in. That was apparently leaked by Idle-Sloft, right? I do believe I got his name right. I could have misspoke, but again, shout out to him for leaking that if that's happening. I haven't been around to actually even look into anything myself, so that kind of saved us all some trouble if that is the case. And when it comes to the new IP, Tim Schafer was talking about what they're doing at their studio, and he kind of spoke for a lot of studios, Colt, as well, which I do want your take after Insipid here. They do say that they have already started. They got the credits and all that stuff done on Psychonauts 2. That game did get delayed, and they are already working on the new IP that's coming after Psychonauts 2, basically. Insipid, what are you hoping for, man? You hoping for Battletoads 2 here? What's going on?
I've never been one for Double Fine style games. So personally, I'm not like losing my mind over anything. However, I am extremely enthused by the way that in that same interview, Tim Schafer, I believe it was, pushed back on making Banjo, and he said, no, there are other people for that. We want to make the games we want to make. And I'm really encouraged by the fact that they're done with Psychonauts 2. I think it's imperative that Microsoft continue to develop and create new IP under their own umbrella and foster that creativity. And I mean, for every Bleeding Edge, theoretically, there's a Hellblade 2. And then you get, sometimes like with Obsidian, you get, Grounded, and people really like it. I'm hoping that with whatever they're working on with this new IP, it is something they're enthused about, they're excited about, and it fosters their creativity so that they can continue making games. And that's how they fill out that subscription service. Moreover, it may not appeal to me, but there are tons of people that love Psychonauts. That's awesome. There are tons of people that love Double Fine. That's awesome. And as Microsoft continues to check off these niche categories, it only bodes well for their subscription service. I'm always excited for new IP, except when it's Respawn, because they have yet to make me Titanfall 3. So I'm ecstatic to hear that there's new IP happening anywhere.
Respawn are gods, sir.
They are, and they're divine in many ways. And they gave me Jedi Fallen Order and Titanfalls 1 and 2, and even Apex. But
Yep.
I mean, where's Titanfall 3 is all I'm saying. But yeah, no, it's great. It's great. It's great. I'm all for them making new IP. It doesn't matter the studio.
I'm scared. Because
I feel like these new studios that want to make a new IP, I feel like the common factor, the variable that's in every equation when they talk about new IP is that they didn't have the budget before to do it. Like you hear it with An Exile, you hear it with Obsidian, you hear it with, Compulsion Games, and now this people. Like I feel like they're all like each new studio they brought on is either working on a new IP, and they are able to do that because they can hire like freaking crazy because they have the budget now to make that new IP and take that risk. I mean, Naughty Dog, every massive studio has said the biggest risk a studio can do is make a new IP. It's the hardest thing to do. It takes the most time. It's challenging beyond anything they've ever done, and it costs money. And so that's what if you notice, every new studio, same variable, they're making something new, and that's what I like. I enjoy that.
Let me segue in with Zucker's beautiful description of how new IPs are so expensive and risky. The best thing I got, Dealer asked for my opinion on this Tim Schafer thing. The best thing I got from that interview is that he was asked point blank if his studio would or will make Banjo-Kazooie. And he said, no, I'll leave that up to Rare. Like he totally no, I don't want to touch that franchise. Double Fine's not interested in doing other people's games. They like creating their own. That's why Tim Schafer does what he does. And the best part about that, for me personally, is that Rare says, we don't want to rehash our old IPs. Yeah. Rare is in the same position where they want to create new and more imaginative things. They want to move forward. And that's really good because Banjo-Kazooie was great in 92 or 95, maybe. I wouldn't know. I was too old to play it back then. Yeah. But then again, last night I was playing Sackboy Adventure with my kid, and that game's charming as all get out. Made by the same people that made Crackdown 3, made by Sumo Digital. Really great game. If you're cool with sitting down and playing like a top-down, third-person action puzzle game, like really, really cool. Like I would like to see something like that from Xbox. I don't have a personal tie to Banjo-Kazooie, and I know this panel probably doesn't really care either.
Nope.
Nope.
So D-Bash, somebody was very concerned that you fell in, and we had to let them know you weren't here. But when it comes to Tim Schafer talking about, they're working on a brand new IP. This is something we've been asking Microsoft for, and a lot of guys in the chat as well. This is good news. Even from a smaller studio, they are growing, and they have proven themselves to have pretty reputable names there.
Yeah, we definitely need some new IPs. If they could do something in the action genre, whatever they want to make, as long as it's a new IP, I'm all for it. I think Microsoft really needs new IPs badly. Like I hear people like we always make the joke on Banjo Kazooie, but like that game is so old and dated. And if that game were to be re-released, it would score poorly, and Microsoft would be back in the 69, Metacritic levels. We need new IPs. If it makes sense, like Crimson Skies, like that's a game that you could remake, and I think that people would buy it. The mech, I believe it's Mech Assault. You could maybe make another Mech Assault. Those are the only few games from the old glory days of Xbox that I think would survive now. We need some new IPs, and we're in desperate need of action adventure games. Good story-driven games on the caliber of the competition. I think that's what Xbox gamers want, and I think that's what all these studios should strive to make. Like, make the game that you want, but just make it at the best ability with the top graphics and gameplay innovations. We just need some real new stuff on the Xbox platform.
Hey,
I mean, I understand what you're saying.
Real quick. Let me get the Hanzo. Shout out to him. Stubbs Gaming. Shout out to him. We've also got Lord Starkiller again. Super Chat says, having a great. Hey, God damn it! I just hit the damn button on accident. Let me get it this way. Okay, he says having a great time on the Xbox Series X. He says load times are so much faster. Cyberpunk looks fantastic. Quick resume actually works now, and the games they look awesome. He does. We got a LG OLED as well, so he's enjoying that. He says Happy New Year to all of the guys on the panel. RDX for being the best podcast. Thank you so much. I'm glad that's your opinion. We do appreciate it, man. But again, I mean, Zalker, who do I want to get in on this real quick? Zalker, did you already talk? Yeah, I heard you was rolling something. So according to someone in the chat.
I was gonna say something.
Okay.
I don't want to like I understand what you're saying, D. I get the whole point of like we want like top graphics, all that, but I can't get pigeonholed in that, man. Like I don't care what the game like. I care what the game looks like to an extent. Like for me, Immortals, right? Like it's not realistic graphics, but it's freaking gorgeous. And it looks amazing, and it's my game of the year, and I love it because the gameplay is amazing. That to me is like the king, and gameplay needs to be good, and that's what I want. And that's what, like, I don't care if it's third person or whatever. Like we already know there's new IPs coming down the pipeline. Like that's just, it's already a fact. Like In Exile's working on a AAA new IP. They're already building that studio in San Diego for a new AAA IP. Like there's a lot of shit of new IPs coming out, and we'll be like, that's gonna come. I don't care what type of game they are, as long as it's just fucking good. That's what I want.
I agree with you. I want them to be fun. I think that's the most important thing with a game. But at the same time, why can't we have both? Because like you gotta weigh yourself against the competition. And the competition, they have games that are extremely fun, awesome to play, and they look fantastic. And I think I think that's one of the areas. I think that's one of the areas that Microsoft needs to improve with, and I think they will. I think with all the technology that's inside the Series X, when we start to see the developers using these tools, I think we're going to get those amazing experiences from the Series X. I think next year is when we're really going to start to see these come to fruition.
Yeah.
Well, either way, I think that I think right now I'm just so blown away with how the games look. Regardless, and the fact that Ubisoft comes back and patches things so quickly. Colt, you got another piece of information regarding Assassin's Creed Valhalla and what they're going to do coming up here rather soon for the platform, proving furthermore that the box was never leveraged to its fullest, and they got a lot more that they're actually going to do with Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Nice.
And
Colt died.
Yeah. No chat. I guess you'll have to wait and find out.
Talk about Ubisoft for a minute while Colt's muted.
Yeah, we gotta go make a debatch video, and that's how you'll have to find out about it.
What a piece of shit.
Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's one of those things where Ubisoft are updating Valhalla to leverage even more features of the new Xbox Series X, and I'm pretty sure even the PS5. But regardless, you're getting a lot more. Yeah,
dude, I'm in like this like trans of like I don't know what to do because I want to play all these games, and I really was going to jump into Cyberpunk, and I jumped in for 8 hours and then lost my save on PC, which they literally patched the next fucking day.
Nice.
And so that pissed me off, and so I lost my whole game. And then I'm just sitting there going like, okay, should I just like enjoy some of like Call of Duty or just play something else for a little bit, Destiny, and try to jump into these other games that I don't play too often, but they're there, they got patches and they're working. Should I like wait on Assassin's Creed, Cyberpunk, all these other games, and just wait for the patches? Because that's what I feel like I need to do at this point.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the age-old question, though, right? Like almost every game in this world of live service type stuff, we get updates constantly. Everybody should be waiting 6 months to play the best version. The problem is we miss out on the zeitgeist, and we miss out on getting a chance to talk to our audiences or our friends about the latest and greatest. I fell into the same problem with Watch Dogs, where a save was eaten, and it really frustrated me. And that was one of my favorite games of the year. And now it's fixed. Do I want to go back? Do I want to go back in and finish up that game and roll credits? And how much better is Cyberpunk going to be? My buddy's playing it through right now. I decided to wait. How much better is my experience going to be versus his? And will I care when it does happen? Right? Like that's the big question that you're spitting out there, and it's one that I don't think anyone has a definitive answer all the time, every time.
Well, I will say, if you want to play the best version of Cyberpunk's PC, I've played both versions now, and it is fucking night and day. Like you can tell, like I feel like the whole team worked on the PC version, and then they put like 3 dudes in the corner and were like, play it on Xbox and Series and PlayStation. See you later. And like that's it. Like that's how like jarring it was for me. Like I was like, what the hell, man? Like holy cow, like that irritates me. So
did you say holy cow just now?
I did just say holy cow. Crispy smooth.
Oh man.
Well, the big question is when the console optimizations hit my experience on a Series X versus his Series X experience, but is really the Xbox One version. How much better is the game going to be for me versus him if I've waited and I get the optimized?
Well, you're gonna wait till March.
And that's the thing. Is it worth doing that? And I don't have an answer for that for every single game. There's some games I want to play day and date, right when it drops, at the moment I can play it. Others, I can wait.
Well, I'm hearing from Xbox One X users that like the week after the game launched, when they put the first patch, like it was night and day. Like the game was stable. Of course, it still has the bugs, but I think it has the same bugs across all platforms, just because it's in the game design that they have to iron out. But that's my problem. Like Dealer and Rand are like 2 guys that I've talked to that are planning on waiting till the next gen patch comes from CD Projekt Red, and I'm kind of worried, like how much better will it look? Like, will it be worth it? But I mean, I've already got 100 hours in it already.
Hey, you know, Game Genie Prime, you meet a fraud today, sir. Hey, Colt, we were talking about Valhalla when you went and you vacuumed your floor, wherever the fuck you went, and we were talking about they're gonna make the game better, right? And they're gonna bring some stuff. Go ahead and run that over with the chat real quick. And chat, let us know your thoughts as we go.
They said they're going to bring some more console performance improvements, and ray tracing didn't launch on Valhalla for the Xbox Series X or S or PS5, so they're going to bring that in. I hope that works out for them. I hope that doesn't mean that there's a quality mode with ray tracing at 30, but it might. But we've seen both Spider-Man Miles Morales and the remaster get ray tracing 60, right? So it's possible. And Ubisoft makes like some of the top looking games. I hope they pull that off. But Valhalla looks great as is right now. If you played it on the new consoles or on PC.
I can almost guarantee you when they bring ray tracing to that game, it's going to go down to 30 FPS, because on PC, to my knowledge, it doesn't have ray tracing. And like on a top rig, you're getting like maybe 80 frames per second in that game, 75 frames per second. Now you add ray tracing in on the consoles. Yeah, it's going to be like 30, man.
But you also know that like Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Origins like really ran rough on PC. Like you needed a pretty decent rig to get like decent performance on it. Yeah. All the while the Xbox One X and Xbox Ones, they ran it pretty good.
Yeah.
I feel like Ubisoft, like it's like the opposite of CD Projekt Red, Like they really do concentrate on the.
Isn't
on the
Valhalla running
console.
slightly higher than 1080p in performance mode on the new consoles?
No, no.
idea.
There's
It's running
one.
like a
There's
dynamic-
one spot where it drops down to 11 something p. The rest of it's like 1440 plus.
Okay.
This
So
is
they could do a 1080p ray tracing 60 mode on Series X and maybe PS5. Like, I hope.
I mean, honestly,
that's my
it
gripe about
doesn't.
Watch
It doesn't
Dogs
even have to, because it really just proves the point that look, his shit ain't ready. That's why I wasn't in there when it fucking launched. So it really doesn't matter. Well, all I know is the game looks amazing, and I look forward to playing it when it does get ray tracing. Hopefully, they do provide an option, because they're both, hey, they can give us some really good experiences here. So again, Valhalla, I don't know. People have different takes on the game, depending. If you like beams of light flying in the fucking sky, and stuff like that, you might really like it. If you don't, then who knows? You might have a problem. Victor, by the way, he says the problem is that Xbox games blowing up are mostly first person. Even Forza, they still need to kind of replicate it. The narrative. He's saying narrative-driven games need to make a comeback, and I would say that's been the case since the whole generation started. And we really that's why Gears 5 is kind of really refreshing to me, because I thought it was a great story. That's just my opinion, though, right? So let us know.
Oh, you're saying narrative-driven games by Xbox?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought everybody meant like in general. I was like, dude, there's a lot of good narrative-driven games out there.
Yeah, there's definitely some. Crap Gamer's daddy. He says, how do you think teams like Compulsion, In Exile, and of course Ninja Theory were specifically chosen? Did Microsoft pick? They picked them because they were worth the right amount of money. They wanted studios that they could specifically grow, meaning they could cherry pick them and add talent at a much cheaper cost instead of artificially inflating and multiplying their value. And hey, every great game that Playground put out raised their value significantly when Microsoft decided to finally buy them. And then we've got Jehu. I don't know how.
I will also say.
Yes.
I will also say those studios particularly. I think Xbox, if you look at everybody they've bought, they really want a good relationship with the leadership in play. I think that they really have to trust the leadership to put out products and have put out products even on a budget. And then now with money, they can be like, hey, because if you look at Obsidian was 200 people studio before Xbox went in there. And now with Xbox, they've expanded fucking massively.
Yeah.
And there's rumors that they're working on 6 games, because they trust the leadership. And if you look at what happened with CD Projekt Red or other studios around the industry, leadership is a massive, it's hard to find that. It's why they got Bethesda. They trust Howard. They trust those people in leadership.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point.
That's something you got to consider when you're talking about narrative driven. You did just get Machine Games. You got id. You got Bethesda. You got Arcane. You've got all those IP, right? Plus the new Microsoft studios before that. I don't think this is going to be an issue. So if that's your concern, I would be fucking shocked. We've also got I don't know how to pronounce your first name, sir. I'm just going to call you Jack Cockrell. Okay. He says, "Yo, dealer, Patinga Plays made a whole video about you. Give this man who the fuck is Patinga Plays?
Who the fuck makes a whole video about someone?
Yeah, what kind of fucking potential
weirdos.
person that should stay away from? Okay. Anyway, and also William does say Ori was a narrative game and it wasn't a shooter. William, we can't count Ori. So, no, Ori was great, right? But I think they're talking more Tomb Raider or stuff like that, right? But yeah, Ori's fantastic. I didn't finish Ori 2. I don't know why. Maybe I was playing something else. Maybe I was playing NBA 2K21, letting the servers crash. Maybe that's what I was doing. So let's go ahead and move the topic forward here.
You sold your soul to the devil, boy.
I don't even know what you just said. You shut your mouth, sucker. So yeah, they're building new IP. Age of Empires is apparently almost done, according to these guys. Investors are suing CD Projekt Red because of how shitty the game launched, apparently, according to a lot of people. How much are they suing CD Projekt Red for?
$100 million.
Did you put your pinky up to your mouth when you said that?
Yes, I did. Sorry.
Perfect. Well, I mean, D-Batch, how are you going to pay this?
With Bitcoin. Definitely. I find it ridiculous that they're I understand everyone being upset on the consoles, the state that the game launched. I get it, but to sue them, I don't know what are you going to get out of this, because the game, it was still a phenomenal success. They've put up
That's what they're going to get. Money from those phenomenal success.
They've put up multiple patches for these games. I think the game is still selling, so it's not like the game stopped selling and they're not going to get their return on their investment. So I don't know, man. I think people are too easy to sue. Should they be pissed off? To a certain degree, yes, but they acted pretty quickly. Like, this game's been out 2-3 weeks, and it's running a lot better than it was in the first week. So I don't know. I think it's a little bit of.
Like, who's suing them? Like, who are these people suing them? Is it investors that invested in the game and then saw the way it got launched and they lost out on money potentially because it got taken out of PlayStation Store and stuff like that? Like, they have a case, right? Like, that's a case. They're gonna win that.
Well, I guess if you put it in the terms like that, yeah. Well, I don't know.
All I can say is fuck them. They deserve it.
But PlayStation taking it out of the store was I thought it was a little bit much. You could have put a disclaimer there. You could have offered the refunds to the people that wanted their refunds. But to take it out of the store was a little bit much. Like we've all pointed out, there's been many games that launched on the PlayStation in a much worse state. What was that game? No Man's Sky.
Life of Black Tiger.
Come on, there's been a lot of games. They didn't remove it to the store, so there's some politics at play here too.
Well, it's a massive game, and they showed it. And they lied. So I don't think it's much. It shouldn't have been on the store in the first place. Should have been fucking delayed.
But did they lie? Because they never really showed the console version. So did they lie?
They literally said it runs surprisingly well on current gen systems. They literally said that. I'm not damage controlling these fuckfaces.
Is that a marketing thing or is that like a random, It
was developers saying it. So
well, that was clearly.
Are they saying that to kids so they buy the game because they thought they were getting 20 frames or?
They're driving an ice cream truck around hey kids, remember, it runs surprisingly well.
I don't know. I remember watching some of the PlayStation 4 footage and thinking, holy shit, this looks like Virtual Fighter from the old Sega systems, like the characters, the polygons on them, and how the textures would load in. Oh, pretty bad.
I remember a year and a half ago, me and Dealer were watching that 48-minute gameplay demo, and me and him were in the party watching it, and we're like, oh shit, that background city looks fucking rough, 360 style, and we're they got a year, they'll fix it.
Looks like Crackdown 3.
Crackdown 3 looks like Last of Us compared to that shit. So yeah, either way, whatever, they're gonna get sued. They made a fuck ton of money. Get wrecked.
Why are you so rude, Zucker?
Because I lost my save.
Oh my god.
No, I just don't like this scummy shit that happened. That annoys the hell out of me. If Xbox did that, I'd be freaking just as on them. Same with Sony, same with anybody. That I don't like that crap. Fallout, they got absolutely destroyed for it. Lying and basically just releasing a broken product, and they patched it and it's a good game apparently now. And Battlefield had some problems with it too. They launched with a map and a half. And that was just freaking terrible, and they got destroyed for it. And you know what? When developers try to do that shit that's scummy with leadership, you're gonna get the fucking.
I don't think it's a developers though. What you're saying is more on the business side, the top end, leadership.
I'll tell you what, Bethesda's in trouble if they put their games out like they have been the past 10 years. If this lawsuit goes through and becomes a way to deal with this, I was thinking today that it's quite possible that Todd Howard wants to show Starfield in the summer of 2021 and then say it's ready for holiday 2021. And I know a lot of people say, no, there's no way. But they do like to wait until the game is ready and launch it a few months later, like they did with Fallout 4 and some other games. So that's possible, pandemic barring, that could change, right? But if Bethesda was thinking we could get Starfield out for holiday 21, but if it comes out the way they usually do, an incredible game with bugs that have to be patched out, they could be going, wait, maybe we don't want to do what we've been doing. And I don't know if we can put this game out until we know for sure we're not going to get sued if things don't launch correctly.
Sure.
This is a really bad situation. And it's justified. it sucks, but it's going to be a real problem
Well,
that everybody has to deal with.
A lot of Bethesda's Bethesda, a lot of their reasons was because of their engine, and like that they have a completely new engine, and I think that there's going to be problems with it when it launches because it's completely new technology.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be something they're patch in, but their games were never game breaking minus Fallout. Like Fallout 76 was like, what the hell is this? Everything else like Skyrim, like when I played that opening day or whatever on PC and Xbox, I remember going like, oh, it's not too bad. Like I had a horse that went flying once, right? Like that was about it. Like that's all. Like I just saw random bugs that made me laugh. It wasn't anything like what they showed me at the E3 demo for Skyrim or Fallout is what I got when I bought the game day one. That's not what we got with Cyberpunk. I think that's the difference. Like, it's not as extreme.
I just gotta say to add on to Cole's point there, I think in a way this could be a good thing for games going forward because this has really been a big issue, and this will definitely make developers think twice before releasing their products because we've gotten a lot of games that have been buggy, and I don't think we should accept it. So it shouldn't be the norm, and if this is the example that needs to be set, then so be it, because we should get a complete game. I agree with that.
Hey, Shogun says this is the perfect time for Microsoft to buy CD Projekt Red. Oh, Shoguns, you mastermind bastard.
Phil Spencer walks in.
He's like, hey guys, you're worth about $1 billion less than you were about 17 hours ago. Hi.
How you doing?
Come over here.
You need some help with them class action lawsuits?
Don't say I never did nothing for you. Seriously, Colt Eastwood should talk. Whoever said that in the chat, right?
Okay. Hi, everyone.
Hey, Colt,
Xbox,
shut up.
Xbox.
Colt, you said that enough on Twitter today. Also, I do. the
Cyberpunk
Cyberpunk thing.
Said stop pre-ordering.
Yeah,
that is such a tough one.
Hey, D-Batch, why he's talking about this? Do you just be thinking about the updates on any console purchases that you might know of, since you're the master of this?
Oh, tomorrow morning.
Okay, Colt.
He said think about it with your mind, not your mouth. Fuck, dude.
I mean, I really just repeating what, let me see who said it. What Kendrick Starr in the chat is good enough. He said, stop pre-ordering. Yeah, it's something to think about. It's just, it's a tough one.
Unless you trust the developer wholeheartedly.
I mean, why? When you think about it, when you pre-order, you save yourself, depending on your download speed, you're going to be ready an hour before if you just bought it when it comes out. But you're also, when you say stop pre-ordering, you're also saying wait a week to buy a game when you hear what Digital Foundry has to say. And I'm kind of tongue in cheek, but isn't it kind of like that? It's like if someone's like, Colt, why did you buy Cyberpunk on the Xbox Series X when the superior version is on PS5? And I said, well, you're absolutely wrong on that one, but you don't find this out till a week later when the game's out. You've already bought it. You've already been playing it for a few days, and Digital Foundry goes, well, here's the P. Here's how many P's it is behind the other one. It's like, oh, this is like how we measure our games now.
It's not a PP measuring.
Yeah.
All right. Well, D-Batch, there are people wanting updates on when they can get their damn hands, some of them their feet, they're kind of weird, on a new next-generation console. Can you give them the latest?
Yeah, well, this morning, Target had some at 5:30 to 6 a.m. They had some PlayStation 5s and Series X's. And another shipment came into some stores today, so they hauled them in the back. So either tomorrow morning or the day after, you'd have to keep checking early in the morning, 5:30 to 6 to 6:30 for pickup in store. Good luck. Your mileage may vary.
Yeah. So you just have to be careful about what D-Batch just said.
I'm careful about everything D-Batch says.
Just be careful about what D-Batch just said, and stay out of Canada for the next 3 weeks.
And follow my Twitter. My Twitter, I try to update you guys. So just follow Twitter. There you go.
What's your Twitter? Fuck, you ain't gonna tell them?
Self-plug, you bitch.
D_batch. Of course, I gotta complete the self-promotion. My bad.
Yeah, D_batch. And D, speaking of Colt Eastwood, Colt, why the hell are Xbox copying PlayStation with these damn fucking pushback triggers that broke my thumb? How's that? What's going on here?
It's just a patent, is what I think. Well, it's just a patent, so it could mean nothing. But I mean, this is what the DualSense 5 is. They're taking what Xbox did and they're improving it. And then it turns around, looks like Xbox is like catching up to what PlayStation is doing, if that ever comes out. But then you swivel your hips a little bit to the other side of the news, and there are a massive report of broken adaptive controllers on DualSense 5. Ooh. So they have to deal with that. So this is the state of console controllers right now. Which one's ahead, which one's better, but which one is breaking more than the other. And now that's what they're dealing with right now. That news comes a day apart. Yesterday it was adaptive triggers on DualSense 5 are breaking, and now Xbox is looking into copying what Sony's broken controllers are doing. I mean, I say that all with like just a sneer. It's like is the patent mean anything? Maybe. Should Xbox improve the controller? Absolutely. Like add a little more rumble into it, bring that thing alive. Rumble triggers are great. They're not quite the same on DualSense 5. Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of how it is.
You're not missing out too much though. Like as much as I do enjoy the DualSense 5, after a while, some of those features you want to turn it off because it does kind of hamper the experience.
Yeah, I turned them off.
Cool to try it.
Yeah, people are turning them off, but that extra rumble that I feel is housed in the center, as long as in the handhold areas that we're used to, like that extra amount of rumble when I was playing Astro Bot or Sackboy or Miles Morales, like it's really cool. And it's not a big cost for PlayStation. Yeah. Unfortunately, the DualSense 5 is $10 more. I think that's in the adaptive triggers, not that extra rumble spot that's in the middle.
And what makes no sense to me is like why you can't use your PlayStation 4 controller on the PlayStation 5, because the games that implement these features, they can easily be turned off. So why can't you use your old PlayStation 4 controller? Like some games do it well, like Spider-Man, like it wasn't overpowering. Like when it happened, like you're turning on the TV, you can like feel the denseness of the TV. It's like, oh shit, okay, this feels like I'm pressing a button. Like it's cool when it's done correctly. It's not something you'd want widespread in all of your games,
Another thing I always forget about that's used in quite a bit of the first party games is the PlayStation controller on the past few of them have had that axis thing where you can rotate and it's got an accelerometer in it. So Xbox has never had that. And I was playing Sackboy last night with my kid, and you stand on these platforms and they have a little jet on them, and you rock the controller to the right or forward or back, and you'll move that floating platform that direction. And it's just like, I mean, do you want to do those gimmicks in your games all the time? No, but sometimes in a game, it's like, oh, this is fun, or this is funny. This is a cool little like thing. Like, I don't know. The next Xbox controller will do more. I know that for sure.
Okay. Well, I mean, Jesus.
Wait, you want me to say something controversial to wake up Dealer?
No, I mean, I'm just looking at like people in the chat.
Hey, Dealer,
right?
Witcher 3 is the most overrated game ever.
How
would you know? You didn't play
ever.
Hey, so basically, I'm looking at the chat, and I'm just like, I'm looking at certain people in the chat, and I'm just like, holy fuck, guys! Like, what? How else can it be more clear about either option A or B? Like, we've covered things multiple times, and then we get people in the chat asking us the same damn thing multiple times, which is fine. If you miss something, that's cool, whatever. But these are people I see all the time, or some of them anyway. And then we get people bitching because we have to cover the same thing twice. So, sorry,
Can't
Christy,
please everyone.
Okay, we don't want to do that to you. We don't want to make you listen to that twice. So, pardon us. Immortal Jedi, shout out to you, buddy. I was not trying to be an asshole earlier, I promise. And to the rest of you, thanks for watching us live on RDX Podcast. Hit the like button if you're enjoying the show. Maybe show a buddy or two as we move forward into.
We do have like a pretty dang good chat, like live chat. I've seen a few of them, but this is the best.
Yeah,
we do. I mean, I see so many comments in the chat live. They're like, "Oh man, that's such a good point," and we try to read those like when we can because it does add to what's being talked about here.
Seriously,
so
it does.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
As the guest, I noticed that your chat is always engaged with you guys, which when you run a show means the most. When you guys have a live audience that listens to what you say and attacks it or defends it, it means they're listening and engaged. And shout out to everybody that's doing that because it's awesome to see. So to get to be a guest and then watch them do that with you guys, it's even cooler. So cheers on that.
Yeah, seriously, man. The chat's amazing. Shout out to Assassin Lupa. She said RDX rocks. Thank you so much. Hilarious. Noof Nukem, shout out to you. I'm gonna have him on sometime here soon. We gotta get Noof back on here. Spooky Sprocket. We've got Team Ninja. We've got RVV. Rick Payne. Shout out to you. Everyone saying hi. Thank you for what you do. Seriously. Speaking of seriously, why are Microsoft seriously stealing the PS5 controller idea? And Insipid, why? They're basically trying to get. They've codenamed here. I actually have things written down for this, right? So basically, this is the gist of it. They are actually going to call these. They're going to rebrand these according to the patent. They're going to call them clutched force feedback triggers. And these things are going to offer resistance. And I got a weird vibe from Game On Daily did an interview with Dirt 5 lead technical director where they asked me to come on and talk to him about a lot of this stuff. And I got to ask him really cool questions to him. And he did reference the DualSense controller and its haptics. And he kind of started to say something, and then he pulled it back and said, "Oh, hang on, I can't say that." And for some reason, I got a weird vibe that Microsoft were going to probably introduce one of these types of controllers. Insipid, do you think that they are actually going to do this?
I mean, they're going to iterate on any controller. I mean, when the Xbox One came out, it had, what was it, the impulse triggers, I think is what they called them.
Yeah, that's what they still got now, I think, yeah.
Right, yeah. And nobody really used it, but it was really cool tech and really cool features that you could feel like in Forza and whatnot. And nobody really jumped in and used it. And then you look over at the DualSense now, which is, 7-8 years later, which means R&D time was a few years before that. But what I'm so impressed with the DualSense and those haptic feedbacks is how subtle it is. In Miles, I didn't even notice it, didn't even care less. And Astros, I absolutely do. It doesn't sell me on a game in any way, but it is a great feature to have in your arsenal of talking points. And for that exact reason, you'll constantly see game manufacturers, game developers iterate and steal the best aspects of their competition to try and improve their own product. I mean, you look at the PlayStation Eye and the Kinect. I mean, that was a riff on the Wii technology. It was a different take on it, but they were trying to capitalize on motion gaming to varying levels of success, and it bled into different aspects. Should they steal the tech, or should they patent it and try and go with it and try and make it profitable? Sure, absolutely. Why not? And by the same token, they do have a controller that is incredible as is, and they've continuously iterated and improved it with each version that's come out, including the stuff down to the D-pad. I love the Series X D-pad, Series S and X D-pad. I love that thing, which to me feels like a takeaway from the Elite, and I don't know that it is or not. But should they take it? Sure, why not? Take what's effective and leave behind. In teaching, we always discuss with each other, you steal from anybody that you can so that you can improve your students and improve the people around you. And Microsoft should do the same thing. Take from anybody that they can to improve for their customer base, as should Sony and Nintendo and anybody else. Though Nintendo marches to the beat of a very different drum, to be sure.
Okay.
Can you turn him up just slightly, please, dealer, since you have controls?
Yeah.
I should have said this a while ago. He's just slightly quiet.
Okay, yeah. If there's the difference, it's not much.
Yes,
Insipid, I'm going to apologize. I should have added that % of gain right to you from the beginning, sir.
Boost for Insipid. Yeah.
We're going to put you up in a booster chair.
This is a good time to read Kirby's super chat.
Go ahead.
You want me to read it? Because it's in the subject. He said, the patent dates back from 2018. He gave the patent number for all you people who want to get it tattooed on the back of your neck. He says, it also has info on touch-sensitive triggers, think like the iPhone home button, and details how there's basically a whole dang gearbox / transmission in the Xbox triggers.
So I have a question for you guys. Question for you, Colt, since you're reading this one in this question. If they are doing as much as they're doing with PC and with xCloud, do they really have a lot of wiggle room to design super impressive triggers and super impressive modes for a controller? And is it financially viable?
Well, yeah, that's a good point, because at first I'd say, hey, yeah, that's really good. No, they don't. But remember that PC will get full functionality of an Xbox One or Series X controller. or Elite, right? And xCloud is made to Bluetooth to a tablet, to a smart TV, eventually to a PC. So if you're doing xCloud, you'll get full console controller, quote unquote, air quotes while I'm doing the podcast. So you would get all of that. The only thing is that they also have to Xbox is like accommodates everybody because they're bringing scalable UI and touchscreen to tablets and phones that don't want to connect to controller. So I think, yes, they're doing all of that, and they can take the time to make the controller as immersive as possible. And I don't think they're spinning their wheels because the controllers are like their highest selling hardware right now. Like they sell tons of controllers. Because they can be used everywhere. They'll be used on all those devices I just said. So I think it's a good investment to make that controller better and more tactile and all that stuff.
I could see that making itself into the third version of the Elite controller. I could see that possibly like in the next couple of years.
Yeah. Man, that's a good question though.
Yeah, there's a lot of I don't know. There's so much information out there going around, and there's a lot of people who don't understand a certain percentage of it, or there's a lot of people who don't even look into it, and they'll just repeat things they said, and same thing in politics, everything else. It's the same thing, but consoles. It's kind of ridiculous. Yes, I know, it's kind of ridiculous. Thanks, Kirby, though. We do appreciate it, man. That seems pretty interesting. So you're talking about like iPhone style haptics potentially in certain parts of the controller, and maybe some different types of rumbles elsewhere. That's in 2018, so not December 1st, like I guess they've been saying on Twitter all day, but I guess 2018, that's quite a while. They must have known that Sony had been up to this for some time now. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do there. But apparently, according to the patent, Microsoft are pursuing those active triggers like Sony do have. I've used them. I'm not sure I like them. I maybe have to get used to them. I know that I instantly liked rumble triggers, like quick. I could feel the traction of the tire in Forza Motorsport 5. I knew what it did. It added another sensation that connected me to the game, right? And with Spider-Man, which is the only game I've tried the triggers out with, besides the Astro's Playroom, which I turned off after 5 minutes, is I noticed the triggers pushing back on me, and I just don't know what that really does to make me enjoy the game more. Right? I mean, maybe I have a problem with that, but that's just my opinion.
You said you don't want to fight with the physical thing that is controlling your game. Like that's not enjoyable to you.
Yeah.
And what I noticed more than any pressure differential on the triggers, like Astro's Playroom, you have a bow and arrow for a few minutes. What I noticed more than the tension on the triggers was they do two things to give you the feeling that you're pulling a bow back. They have a speaker in the controller that does a noise for you pulling the bow back. And then there's that micro vibration in the middle that is creating that sound of the bow pulling back. The sound and the micro vibration did more for me feeling like I was pulling back a bow than I didn't even notice the adaptive trigger. So if those were off, like I think that was even better, but I mean, obviously I have them on. I'm just saying that PlayStation does this sound thing with that micro vibration that is way more effective in giving me the illusion of pulling back a bow, which I think is really cool. So I don't think Xbox should add a speaker. I don't really like that sort of thing. Like you're playing in a quiet room, you don't want it. But that other vibration level is really cool.
Hey, Juice. I mean, Juice, sir. Randall and I are great friends, sir. Okay, and
that's a lie.
Sometimes I'm Zalker. I swear to God, these guys they have fought and they fought so many times. And scratch each other's faces with their nails. So me and Colt have really gone through a lot.
I use my toenail
to help Randall and Zalker work on their relationship.
Yeah, it's funny watching Rand and Zalker fight in real life. They slap each other with their hands really close together, and none of them ever gets hurt. It's like it's kind of a convenient to watch. It's just it's a good time.
And then we cuddle.
Yeah. Well, I'm gone far by then, but you guys could definitely ask Zalker about that. Zalker87 on Twitter.
Dealer puts down his bet on who's going to win. He drops down some cash and he leaves every time. So yeah, that's just how it works.
Well, in either case, apparently pretty interesting. Microsoft are potentially doing this, and that's I don't know. I find it interesting. They haven't done this quite this blatant away in quite some time, I do believe, from Sony anyway.
Well, what do you want? Like, we didn't ask. What do you want the Xbox controller to do next?
I just want it to fucking chill out, and I just want it to calm down. Like, I like it where it's at, and maybe that's just because I haven't used the PS5 one enough. I don't know. But I just feel like from what I experienced, and you can back this up by talking to people like Luca, a good friend, or many other people, even some Sony guys, they're turning that stuff off. And that doesn't mean that Billy down the street might do the same, but
I hear a lot of that.
It's not a universal thing that says it's better. And I never really heard people complaining about rumble triggers like they are these. I don't know. And by the way, apparently they're breaking a lot.
Yeah, we've covered that. Yeah.
So I mean,
a lot, quite a bit.
That's pretty. I don't know. We have to find out what's going on there. It could be Gen 1 issues. Hopefully they're refunding everything. But
they're plastic gears and they're stripping out, is what I'm hearing. Incepted, have you heard about that?
I have not. I'm hesitant to even like jump in on y'all's conversation for this portion because it's a little bit beyond my realm. I'm so peasant like when it comes to controllers. I just want the controller to feel good and I want to enjoy playing it. And I don't want to think about my controller much. So I'm enjoying hearing you guys talk about it, but I truly could not jump in well on that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard that a trigger will just snap and it no longer works because it's, two plastic gears working together and a cog breaks or it, strips out, and that sucks. But I mean, we freak out about those things and people will write articles and they'll tweet about it. But in the end, Sony asks you to put in a claim and they send you another one, I'm sure. Because Xbox sent me a brand new controller because my battery pack wasn't working with it. Instead of them fixing something with the connections, they just sent me another one. Like, Sony and Microsoft are going to just step up and make it right. It's brand new hardware. They want the goodwill, and that's just kind of.
It's to be expected too. Like, when new hardware comes out, there's little things that maybe slip through quality control, and they get it in the second wave. Example: the PlayStation 4, the initial DualShock controllers, the analog sticks, the rubber just like came off those mothers, man, quickly. And then they did a revision. They put some different type of plastic on a different coating. It was harder, and the second generation of those controllers, you don't have that issue. So I'm pretty sure Sony will work that out, and Microsoft will work on any issues they're having with any of their accessories. It is what it is. Launch.
Well, D, I want your opinion in chat. I really want your opinion on on this because Sony are pushing big numbers, right? We talked about this months ago. Tim Dog brought up that that Sony are going to focus their numbers and their volume in the States. They're going to dominate MPD. Microsoft are going to spread those units out over more territories than ever, which they have since confirmed. And long story short, PlayStation is apparently selling really, really well, like very well. And it could be even better than it has ever sold. Granted, it is a damn pandemic. Ain't shit else to do for a lot of people. But that's with everything, right? That scales with everything. So we expected that. So Sony reportedly sell 3.4 million consoles in 4 weeks, and they do expect to ship over 18 million more throughout the next year. That is, if you really consider that's better than the PS4, and that thing was a juggernaut. Yeah. Chat, let us know your thoughts. D-Batch, I'm here if you need to cry on my shoulder.
That's a lot of consoles, man. And I have to say, like, word on the street, it's people are just pining for the PlayStation 5. I'm telling you, like, I get calls from like people I wouldn't expect to get calls from, saying, "Hey, can you help me get a PlayStation 5?" It's like, you don't game, no, it's for my cousin, whatever. So like everybody is looking for a PlayStation 5. It's got a lot of hype on it, and I have to hand it to Sony. It's because they also have some compelling software. Spider-Man is good. The whole Demon Souls, whatever. I'm just not into those type of games. Like, I tried it. Not Demon Souls. What's it called? What's the game called?
Dark Souls.
Bloodborne. You were right when you said Demon Souls was their launch.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Demon Souls. Yeah. So Demon Souls, I've played it. Like, it's okay. It's just not my type of game. But there's a lot of people that love that game. So there's at least two compelling titles that you have, and of course you can go through the slew of old games that they have on there. I thought it was really smart of them, actually. When you log into your PlayStation 5, if you have PS Plus, they give you like 20 games. So they gave you a reason to get a PlayStation 5. I'll give them that over Microsoft, where Microsoft, they're doing good on the backwards compatibility as well, but the first party, it's just lacking there. And they have a lot of hype. Like, people are willing to pay double the price for some of these consoles. I'm seeing, like, on eBay, people scamming people because they want a PlayStation 5 so bad. They're selling them a picture of the PlayStation 5. And if you look at the ad, it'll say, like, on the bottom, this is not a PlayStation 5. This is a picture, and it's still selling. So
Frame not included.
it's just crazy. Microsoft, I think they have to spread themselves out a little bit more, because last generation they didn't do bad in North America. They did bad in the rest of the world. North America, between PlayStation and Xbox, it was pretty close. Yes, Sony won, but it was really close. It didn't win by that much in North America, or at least in America. So they have to spread themselves out to the other regions where they don't really have a huge presence. So I understand them doing that, but they also got to concentrate on home. But from what I'm seeing, every time they release a Series X online, it just sells out instantly. So I think both of these companies, doesn't matter how many consoles they make right now, they're going to sell. But Sony, currently, they're selling more. So is what it is.
Yo, can I jump in after Dion?
Yeah, of course. Go.
So I'm one that's very impressive on Sony's side. I'm impressed they were able to create that many consoles and get them out amidst all the conditions and what's going on. Moreover, we know Microsoft also sold out, and they did it without a launch title. And that's impressive in and of itself. The demand for gaming has gone up in such a way that it's shocking to see them try to keep up. And when you look at the lack of launch titles, Demon Souls and Miles on the Sony side, I grant you, but even then, it's just stunning the amount of value you get out of these boxes. If you're a first-time Xbox or PlayStation owner and you're diving into next gen, there is so much value at your fingertips. And for them to both be selling out in the ways that they are is impressive. I think it's very smart that Microsoft spreads as many of their units worldwide as possible, because we've seen them say on many an occasion that their goal is to get to 2 billion screens, and they're attacking that in multiple ways, not just by way of consoles. They're using xCloud and PC, etc. I mean, for goodness sakes, they even published on other platforms in some small cases. So as they make their brand more worldwide and better known and work to enter into the Asian market, it makes sense that they would spread those units out. Because I think when you look at the PlayStation side, they sold 110 million PlayStation 4s. Their brand penetration is just incredible worldwide, and Microsoft had half that. So to think that they are attempting to go toe-to-toe, one-to-one in terms of console sales, I think is a foolish endeavor. Instead, as they've said before, engagement numbers and by making their way to gamer screens any way possible is impressive. And again, I go back to, they sold out, Xbox did, without a launch title, and that's incredible to me.
And the console sales number on an Xbox, it really truly doesn't mean the same thing as a PlayStation. If you want to play PlayStation, you have to buy one of their two consoles, which are nearly identical. If you want to play an Xbox, you got most of their big stuff is coming to Steam now. It's on their PC platform for Xbox gaming and on console, and
which
really
console? Where do you log in?
Yeah, it means much more to Xbox if you decide to join Xbox Live and Game Pass Ultimate, because you're getting the whole package. You're getting every exclusive game that they're building. And if you try to compare the numbers of, we won't know how many Xbox Series S and X is sold right now. So you would guess, what is it, 2 or 3 million, and PlayStation's at 3.7 million? I don't know. What would you guys guess Xbox has sold for consoles? They sold them all.
Well, I would say the numbers are going to be drastically different, because Sony was producing way before Xbox did, and Xbox didn't start till late August, right?
Yeah.
So the numbers are going to be there. The numbers for Sony are going to be there, and they're always going to be there, because you have to buy a PlayStation to play their games. And everybody here, we're all honest, right? Sony built that trust. Their exclusives in PS4 were fucking amazing. So they built that trust, and yeah, my friends, they're not getting Xbox Series X's because they're like, I could just wait. And I was like, yeah, and I was like, yeah. They're like, I could play it on PC, or then I'll get the Xbox Series X later when I want like the performance boost and all those games get like, released. And it's like, yeah, that's cool. And I'm like, whatever. But they're all looking for a PlayStation 5, and it's because of those exclusives. And it's like they want to get them because the games are so fucking good that you need to buy it. Like if you want to play those Spider-Man games or anything, that's the big one. Spider-Man, God of War. My friends are annoyed that they have to buy a PlayStation 5, but they're going to do it because they want to play those games. And I'm the same way. Like I'm going to buy them. I'm going to buy it because I want to play them. And that's what's happening. They built that trust, and Sony's going to continue to sell. Xbox is going to continue to sell, and gaming is doing just fine, people. It's beautiful.
I was going to ask, did you guys see the article that showcased the Miles Morales sales numbers and how it sold terribly compared to Spider-Man?
70% less.
Right. And then when you read it, it's sold incredibly well. It's a matter of how many units were available and how many they could get out there. And it was just an interesting way of thinking.
Are they talking about
PS5
sales of Miles Morales or just overall sales of the game? Because
overall
anybody
sales
on PS4 could have bought the game.
But why?
And 80 million people are still on the PS4, like actively buying games.
And Colt, I'm with you on that point, except when you think about the way that Sony marketed it. We believe in generations, and they had PlayStation, they had the PS5, Miles Morales, and then they kind of like whispered into a back alley to the one guy that's also on PS4.
Oh, you mean like maybe a large majority of PS4 owners don't know that game is available to them.
Right. We're talking about the people that are not engaged on shows like this, that are not listening to this, the ones that buy 1, 2 to 4 games a year. They may not even recognize that they have the ability to play it right now. I'm curious. I mean, what do you guys think on that one?
I think Miles Morales isn't as marketable as Peter Parker, or as popular.
Yeah.
As a comic book guy, I knew exactly who Miles Morales is. I think the Miles Morales Spider-Verse movie.
Yes, thankfully Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse really kicked him into mainstream. I think that helped the game a lot.
Great movie.
It's an amazing movie. One of the best comic movies I've seen in years.
Better than
I think
Wonder Woman,
I will jump out my window. But I think that's the problem, and I think that that was just a huge problem. I think that's it. I think it's just not marketable. Because it did sell well, right? But not nearly as well. Like Spider-Man was the best-selling exclusive Sony has ever had.
Yeah.
So like, of course, it's not like you can't it's just not going to happen. Like you can't have the best ever, and then expect the same thing, and that's what I think.
Okay. Well,
it's available.
Oh, dealer's still here?
Yeah, I was just letting you guys get it all out there,
Thanks,
I wanted to I guess we all agree, yeah, it's well done on Sony's behalf. Chat, for the most part, most of y'all motherfuckers giving credit. And I guess really it doesn't really matter when there's not there's not enough supply to outweigh demand. Meaning they couldn't sell. They sold all of them, and there's many more that would be bought if there were many more to be offered. And that's just the case on both sides. I still think Sony would take the edge, at least on the sales. But I think that it'll be closer than many of you think, especially because of Series S. The first wave of sales is going to be the hardcore guys going for the most expensive console, probably. So as time goes on, that Series S will sell more and more. And ultimately, it really doesn't matter because your cell phone is a display to play their games on now. Your computer, your toaster, your TV, everything, right? Look down at your shoe.
I think what people don't realize, and maybe they don't see it, that we've said this for a while, that the PlayStation brand is one of the brands. It's like it's been pushing for 25 years. It's one of the leading brands and names. It's almost like if you say, hand me a Kleenex, you really mean a tissue. Like, it's just a brand that is so huge, and none of us ever expect Xbox to decimate PlayStation and put them out of business. What we expect as Xbox fans is for them to become better than they've ever been before, and to improve, and to give us experiences that we want to play and that we love playing, and continue to give us the stuff that we love. Like, it's not about Xbox outselling PlayStation 5 so bad that they just close up shop and never come back again. Like, that's not how it works. Nintendo has been killing it for 40 years, and they are the top name above PlayStation. And I don't want any of these to go away. It doesn't do me any good as a consumer and a game fan, you know. So,
No,
like, talking about the sales figures is kind of goofy right now, because Incepid and Zaka are just saying that Xbox is doing super well in a time when we weren't sure if manufacturing would have the go-ahead with everyone at home not able to report to work, or with the looming in the early part of 2020 of tariffs, that they would be taxed so high that people wouldn't be able to afford them. Like it's ended far differently than we would have thought early in 2020, but it's still in a really good place.
I'm trying to figure out. These dudes in the chat are fucking crazy.
What do you see?
I don't know. There's like so many little inside jokes these motherfuckers got. I think it's hilarious. We got the best chat in the universe, guys. Again, thanks for joining us for the show. Hit the like button, maybe show a buddy or two. And of course, thank you for what you do, honestly. We got so many inside jokes on the show and with the chat that it, I don't blame anybody outside of the bubble at the moment for not understanding the shit, because that's just how long we've been hanging out and talking about the latest and greatest every single week. And hey, sometimes we got to reiterate, sometimes we got to go over things again because people ask, or because we don't feel like we did a good enough job explaining certain things maybe the week before. But at the end of the day, some of you guys come back, you listen, even during the holidays, which is surprising. So thank you. Hopefully all of you get to sit on Santa's mall lap, and we got to do some outros. This is the end of the show. Insipid Ghost.
Hey, let me book in my comment real quick
go ahead.
and say, because someone said that Xbox will never decimate PS5 or PlayStation, like I said. I also truly believe that there's no way that PlayStation will put Xbox out of, off their business and have them close up shop or just become a third party, just a name. I just don't think that's, like, it's just funny that people are kind of hoping for that. They want PlayStation to dominate so far that no one else can turn around and get it back up off the ground. It's like, if we've seen anything with Xbox in the past year and a half, probably 2 years, that they not only thought, well, I guess this is where we are. I mean, Xbox is like, we are not sitting down like the 2016, 2017 Xbox that everyone thought was going to be. Like, they have killed it. 23 studios. They're building like the most powerful hardware that's supposed to be coming up and showing us what it can do. Like, Xbox is like here to become one of the big brands to play games, and like it's not going anywhere. Amen.
All right. Well, Colt, thank you for giving the sermon. But can you tell everybody where the fuck they can find you and what you've been playing? Shit. Where can they find you?
100 hours in Valhalla, 100 hours of Cyberpunk. You can find me at Cole Eastwood on Twitter, where I'll block you. It's just funny. Just the past couple of days have been kind of just really strange. You can find me on YouTube, where I put out a little video showcasing the worst games of this year that people weren't really happy with. It wasn't meant to be super negative. Just kind of interesting the way games were hyped up and they did not deliver. So yeah, crazy. But thanks for having me on the show.
You can find me on Twitter, where I'll block you. Hey, Zalker, where can we block you?
Nowhere. I'm a nice guy. Now you guys can find me on Twitter at Zalker87, YouTube Zalker87, or your recommends. Not lately. I've been playing a lot of Phoenix Rising. Honestly, I beat that, and I just started doing a little more achievement hunting on it because I just love that game. And a lot of Call of Duty Cold War. Freaking love that game. Been playing a lot of multiplayer with friends and zombies. A lot of zombies. That zombies is so cool. A lot of Easter eggs that we're trying to do and accomplish. And then I started the campaign a little bit, but again, I keep going back to zombies. And I started playing a little bit more Watch Dogs, but more on my tablet through the xCloud streaming, which has actually been a pretty damn good experience. Yeah, that's what I've been doing a lot of, and reading a lot of comics. There you go. A lot of fun stuff going on, people, and I hope everybody enjoys their games and their holidays with their family, and a couple more days and it's the new year, and fuck 2020.
Yeah, can you say that again?
Fuck 2020.
Oh, perfect. D-Batch, tell people where they can find you and maybe buy one of your custom-built D-Batch computers.
There we go. D_batch at Twitter, on YouTube, of course, at D_batch. I'll probably put some content out next week. I don't know. I've been taking some time off, building rigs like crazy, and just enjoying the holidays, man. We've worked hard all year, so it was time for me to take some time off. Yeah. I'm so tired. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah. Join the club. Join the club. It's been an exhausting week. Also, we've got Insipid Ghost. Tell people where they can find you, man, what you do, and what you've been playing.
Oh, heck yeah, man. Well, thank you to everybody who's hung out. And if you made it this long, I would love for you guys to go check out my podcast, which is called the Xbox Expansion Pass. And it is a solo show where I also host industry interviews from people from all over the gaming verse. Dealer's been kind enough to be on, but people like Steve Spawn, Andrew Renee, Jeff Grubb, as well as developers of games like Ori, Grounded, and the like. I love having people on the show. It's called the Xbox Expansion Pass. One more time. It's available on all your podcast services. So if you're willing to go out and check that out, I'd be most appreciative. And you can find me on Twitter at Insipid Ghost. What was the other question? You want to know what I was playing?
What have you been
right?
playing, sir?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so loving Immortals Phoenix Rising. That is
Hell yeah.
Probably my game of the year. If
Oh
not,
shit.
It's up there. I'm loving it. I will say I'm a recent, thanks to the Master Chief skin, recent Fortnite player. And I fought it for years, guys, and now I need V-Bucks because I'm over here like, oh, Kratos is in there. So I've got Master Chief. They're gonna put more Batman stuff in. I'm addicted to Fortnite of all things, so that's embarrassing to say, but I love it and I'm having a good time. And then plenty of Gears 5 and COD, and at some point I'll take the dive in on Cyberpunk. We'll see.
Yeah. I have to give a shout out to everyone in the chat yet again. Seriously, guys, thanks for joining us. You guys are phenomenal. We got a ton of great content creators in this community. I'm still finding them, right? I'm still finding them. I can't even find my own DMs at this point. But seriously, there's so many guys and people and gals that have decided to just start making content about something that they enjoy talking about, and that's kind of how I got started. But I was more of a fuckface, if you catch what I mean. So, really, when it comes down to it, Insipid Ghost, you're off to a good start, man, and you've got, good mannerisms. You're corporate friendly. I cannot believe we got cleared by corporate, with all the shit we say on the show, but we try to have fun, and I feel like, that's what it's really about, and I'm sure you do as well. I've been on the show. It was fun, and I encourage you guys to go check that out and support the show on iTunes. And by the way, I will be bringing RDX, YouTube's largest Xbox podcast, to iTunes and this other stuff this next month. So this is the first time, aside from Twitter, that I've actually put a date on that or a month on that, and it will probably happen somewhere around the middle of the month, I would imagine. And we will definitely have this up there with some extra goodies in there as well. It's going to definitely be noticeably different for some of you guys that enjoy watching things that way. But you can find me at iSpaceDealers. Huh?
Is Zocker still going to be on it?
No, Zocker's going to be on it, of course.
Okay, nice.
Of course. Meat
Where do we
Puppet,
find
by the way, let me read this. Meat Puppet says, in my opinion, Sony and Xbox need to get out there. Sony. Oh, he says, all right. He says Sony needs to start ramping up production. Yeah, he's talking about production on the units, and that's the thing. Like, it's not the easiest thing to do. We all want them to make more, but trust me, if they could make more, they would have definitely made more, right, Cole? I mean, I know we've been kind of talked to about that. Like, they do wish that they had more to sell. And also, Svitterman says you should just say Xbox all show.
Right.
Just
no,
so
if they made for every console they made, they would sell it right away right now for sure.
Yeah.
For both companies.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, seriously, find me at iSpaceDealer_II on Xbox Live, at dealer_gaming on Twitter, and here, of course, I do plan on getting more regular, the content I prefer to put out. More of that stuff out here over the next week. Seriously, things have been crazy over here. Doing what I can to help, the people that I care for, right? So hopefully you guys are safe and enjoy some games. It's a great time to be a gamer. Stay off Twitter if you want to ignore people that play more Twitter than anything, and play some damn games. All right.
Yep.
We are going to get out of here, guys. Support these guys on the panel. Thank you so much. We're out.
Later, everybody. Happy New Year.
Doctor's a fraud.
100%.
Oh, fuck.